Welcome to part 1 of Reborn in a demonic sect with sign-in system. If you encounter any issues or have feedback, please let me know in the comments. Your input helps me improve, and I'm here to make sure you have the best experience possible. Enjoy the content.
Chapter 26, Part 1. On this day, all the races in Daxu were shocked. Xinyu Sect, the 9th-ranked Transcendent Level sect in Daxu, was destroyed. This ancient sect, which has been passed down for tens of thousands of years, was breached by the Blood Corpse demon race. The Ghost Xin Taoist and the sect master Xian Yuzi inside all died in the battle. Almost no one in Xinyu's sect survived. The corpses piled up like a mountain, and more than half of the sect buildings collapsed, which shows how fierce the battle was. Some strong men went to investigate and tried to deduce the course of the incident. However, the mysteries of heaven and earth around Xinyu's sect seemed to be disturbed, and the cause and effect clues were cut off. There was no way to investigate at all. It must be the legendary Blood Corpse Ancestor who used Taoism to cover up the truth and disrupt the cause and effect. A strong man in the realm of Taoism said, "If someone insists on tracking, he will definitely notice it and cause trouble." All powerful sects know that the Blood Corpse Ancestor is a top strong man in the 9th layer of the realm of Taoism. Once he is targeted, it is almost impossible to escape death. In this case, perhaps only Sacred Land would dare to investigate. But what does the destruction of Xinyu's sect have to do with Sacred Land? Every once in a while, there will be sects disappearing in the long river of history in a mortal cultivation world. This is normal. Survival of the fittest has always been one of the laws of immortal cultivation world. If Sacred Land had to investigate every sect that was destroyed, it would be very busy. The Blood Corpse demon race is indeed hateful, but it was also because Xinyu sect was not strong enough that it was defeated. An ancient sect that has been passed down for thousands of years was destroyed so easily, and its foundation is so weak. It seems that the name of the 9 Transcendent Level sects is a bit unworthy of the name. Some people started to ridicule, thinking that Xinyu sect was not worthy of being called one of the 9 Transcendent Level sections. It was destroyed without a sound. If it spread out, it would be laughed at by other races. The Blood Corpse demon race is so arrogant. Do they want to recreate the ancient war? An elder of the sect spoke fearfully, fearing that the next target of the Blood Corpse demon race would be them. In ancient times, the Blood Corpse demon race was a branch of the demon race sovereign clan. It was powerful, enslaved the myriad races, and created a bloody disaster. In ancient times, a powerful person led a team to attack the Blood Corpse demon race's lair, triggering the ancient war. The Blood Corpse demon race was defeated and abandoned its lair, and only a few young Blood Corpse demons escaped. The current Blood Corpse demon race is their descendant, and it has long been insignificant. They dare not, and I believe that the 2 great sacred lands will never sit idly by and let the Blood Corpse demon race do whatever it wants. An old senior spoke, and one sentence suppressed the fear of many powerful people in Daxu. Indeed, such a big thing happened. As the 2 leaders of Daxu, Heavenly Jade Sacred Land and Xingqian Ancient Sect will never sit idly by. But inside the Xingqian Ancient Sect, at the entrance of the ancestral temple, a middle-aged man in a black and white Taoist robe stood. He was surrounded by holy energy and his face was blurred. 3 people were kneeling in front of him, Li Chunxiao and his father and son. The 3 of them were kneeling on the ground, trembling with nervousness, clenching their teeth, and their backs were soaked with sweat. This middle-aged man in a black and white Taoist robe was the leader of the Xingqian Ancient Sect. He was a saint-level figure that made Daxu tremble with fear. There is more than one Taoist in the Holy Demon Mountain. Chen Gang has even reached the 7th layer of the Taoist Dao. The leader of the ancient Xingqian sect was silent for a moment, glanced at the 3 people and said, "The Xinyu sect must have been destroyed by the Holy Demon Mountain," and then the blame was put on the Blood Corpse demon race. If I'm not mistaken, the Blood Corpse demon race is now dead in name only. The strength of the Grand Palace Master Duanmu Yin and the true spirit Taoist of the Holy Demon Mountain should not be a match for the Blood Corpse Ancestor. That's right. Maybe the Blood Corpse Ancestor realized that his plan was irreversible after repelling the strong men of the Holy Demon Mountain. So they turned their attention to the Xinyu sect, which had lost Zuanyuzi and Guixian Taoist. It's possible. Li Chunxiao and the other 2 looked at the leader nervously and explained in a low voice. "Humph." The leader of the Xingqian Ancient Sect snorted and said, "Stupid, Chung Gang can hide 6 small realms. Why can't True Spirit hide? True Spirit is likely to be a strong man in the 9th layer of the Dao realm. A bolder guess is that he may be a perfect level in the Dao realm. He should be the strongest in the Holy Demon Mountain, so he followed secretly in the battle against the Blood Corpse demon race, not his junior brother Chen Gang." Faced with the leader's analysis, the 3 did not dare to refute. But they really didn't want to believe that there would be 2 strong men in the late stage of the Dao realm in the small Holy Demon Mountain. "You survived because Chen Gang saved face for the Ancient Star Sect." The leader of the Ancient Star Sect looked at the three people and said, "If my sect didn't have the ancient divine weapon, I'm sure you would die. We are the Sacred Land, even if we don't have the divine weapon." The leader of the Ancient Star Sect flicked out with one finger. Li Qingchong, who was speaking, immediately fell to the ground. A hole appeared between his eyebrows, blood flowed, and his spiritual sense was seriously damaged. "Leader, have mercy." Li Chunxiao and Li Qingping begged for mercy. If the leader of the Ancient Star Sect had used a little more force, Li Qingchong would have died. "Humph. If you are stupid in the sect, I can show mercy, but what about outside the sect?" The voice of the leader of the Ancient Star Sect was like the thunder of the 9 heavens, which made the three people's heads buzz and almost lost consciousness. "One day, you will meet someone who is not afraid of death. Even if you tie the ancient divine weapon to your belt, you will still die." The leader of the Xingqian Ancient Sect is very disappointed. The older these three father and son are, the more worrying their IQs are. They are so stupid that people want to slap them to death. "You don't understand what it means to be in the 9th layer of the Dao realm, but I do." The leader said, "This matter ends here, and everyone should pretend that it never happened. Send someone to investigate the destruction of the Xinyu sect, and just deal with it. If someone asks about it in the future, just say that it was done by the Blood Corpse demon race. Our sect has been controlled by the Holy Demon Mountain. Although we can ignore it, it is not the time to tear our faces with the heavenly Jade Sacred Land. If you can take a step back and follow them." Li Chunxiao and Li Qingping calmed Li Qingchong's injuries and said quickly, "Yes, I will remember it." In the Xingqian Ancient Sect, the hierarchy is strict. Although they are elders, and Li Chunxiao is the supreme elder, they are only subordinates in front of the leader. Go down and accept the punishment. If you do something wrong, you must be severely punished. The leader said coldly, "Next time you do things poorly, I will never let you off easily." "Yes, go down." The three of them felt relieved and immediately retreated, and when they were a little further away, the speed suddenly increased, and they disappeared in the blink of an eye. Having such a fool really makes me worry about the future of the sect. The leader rubbed his brows and had a headache. He is more than 1,000 years old, but he can't understand such a small matter, and he has to be alarmed. It's really stupid. Holy Demon Mountain. The leader smiled faintly, and the sun and moon appeared behind him, which was very strange. He was clearly standing there, but he seemed not to be in this space. "Please give me some data. Thank you all." Chapter 27, Part 1. 2 days later, amid the cheers of all the elders and disciples of the Holy Demon Mountain, the Grand Palace Master and his party returned victoriously. After this battle, the Holy Demon Mountain harvested a large amount of resources, enough to cultivate several top talents in the next 1,000 years. The Ancestral Land and the Ancestral Mausoleum will definitely welcome new faces. The 5 Palace Masters plus the Grand Palace Master gathered at the Holy Demon Mountain to discuss important matters. Palace Master Wang Yue said, "Grand Palace Master, this time, our sect has revealed a lot of cards and the inside of the sect. Are you worried that other sects have spies? The Heavenly Origin Saint Master sect has already considered this. Don't worry, no spies can get in." The Grand Palace Master smiled and replied nonchalantly. "Why?" Palace Master Tian asked puzzled. "Hee, since the day our sect was founded, we have set up a special reconnaissance formation that covers the entire sect. As long as the spies with impure intentions enter the sect, they will be discovered immediately, without exception. These are all the countermeasures that our ancestors have carefully considered and prepared early. Our sect likes to keep a low profile, so we must keep our mouths shut. Unless it is absolutely necessary, we cannot easily reveal the details." The Grand Palace Master was full of smiles. In this battle, the Holy Demon Mountain became rich overnight. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is rich as hell. She was so happy in her heart. With these resources, the strength of the Holy Demon Mountain in secret will definitely be taken to the next level. These things, even we are kept in the dark, they are really well hidden. The Palace Master of the Samsara Palace sneered. He was very unhappy, and there was a resentment in his eyes. He had the urge to beat anyone he saw. Others ignored him tactfully. But the Moon Palace Master, who did not participate in the Blood Corpse demon race, was a little confused. So she asked, "Brother Xuanji, what's wrong with you?" "Junior sister, tell me honestly, how much strength have you hidden?" The eyes of the Samsara Palace Master turned red, and he looked at her straight. The Moon Palace Master was stunned. "Can you say this casually?" She probably guessed why the Samsara Palace Master was unhappy. This time in the Blood Corpse demon race, he probably lost face. He was not as good as several senior brothers, so he was not happy. After thinking for a while, she said, "Junior sister, I don't hide much. I just broke through to the 6th layer." These words were like honey, and the Samsara Palace Master was very happy to hear them. I saw the corners of his mouth slightly raised, and he snorted, I don't plan to compete with you, junior sister. Puff. The Tian Palace Master almost laughed out loud. This old guy really loves face. The Xianyin Palace Master didn't say anything, and the Dumo Palace Master closed his eyes and nurturing spirit, looking like he had nothing to do with it. Okay. You don't have to worry about the trivial matters of the sect. The Palace Master ceremony records the management experience and precautions of each generation of Grand Palace Masters from the Heavenly Origin Saint Master to my generation, so there is no need to worry about safety issues. The Grand Palace Master said seriously. Everyone nodded after hearing this. This time our sect has obtained countless resources, including the Holy Weapon Law Treasure. I will formulate a distribution plan later and distribute the resources to each palace. The Grand Palace Master continued. I hope everyone can break through the realm of asking questions as soon as possible. The ancestral land of the sect needs fresh blood. Grand Palace Master, aren't you too anxious? I'm only a few hundred years old. If I suddenly pass away, no one will believe it. The Tian Palace Master heard this, and his expression was a little strange. It could be an accidental death. I have thought about it for you. The Grand Palace Master smiled cunningly. Everyone, you all go first. The resource allocation will be handed over to you later. Junior brother Doemo, you stay? The Tian Palace Master and the others looked at the Doemo Palace Master with strange eyes and left quietly. Only the Grand Palace Master and the Doemo Palace Master were left to discuss important matters. In the Zizai Palace, Shihao was sparring with Xiao Yushuang. One was the sacred body of reincarnation, and the other was the immortal physique of incomplete shadow. The duel between the special physiques was very exciting. The two of them fought back and forth, and the battle was extremely fierce. However, it was obvious that Shihao had the upper hand. Xiao Yushuang was apparently in the second layer of the Juden realm. When fighting with Shihao, who was in the first layer of the Juden realm, he could only barely cope with it by relying on the advantage of his realm. Fortunately, Shihao had practiced for too short a time and lacked experience. Xiao Yushuang could barely resist with his cultivation level higher than the first layer. As expected of a samsara sacred body, Yushuang is hardly his opponent. Chu Tian took a sip of tea and was quite satisfied with Shihao's strength. This was the level that a samsara sacred body should have. However, he had a bolder idea, since he had decided to let Shihao be his successor, the future master of the Zizai Palace. So, he was not doing well enough now. Chu Tian wanted Shihao to become the strongest sacred body since ancient times, to surpass the senior who wrote the Reincarnation Emperor scripture. This was the small goal he set for Shihao. Shihao, you have been in the sect for a few days and have performed well. It's time to teach you the real core skills of the sect. Chu Tian called Shihao and said, Thank you, master. Shihao showed a look of surprise on his face. This is the void turtle breathing technique, the core skill of the sect. Practice it well. Chu Tian took out a booklet and handed it to him. The void turtle breathing technique? Shihao looked puzzled. This seemed to be a kind of invisibility skill.
Right?
Chapter 28, Part 1. Chu Tian saw the confusion on Shihao's face and explained, This is a skill passed down by the founder of the Holy Demon Mountain. It is very magical. It contains 36 apex-level breath-retracting techniques and 72 similar techniques of the next level. Practicing these breath-retracting techniques and integrating them will become the void turtle breathing technique. In the future, even if the sacred venerable is standing in front of you, he can't tell how high your true cultivation level is. After hearing this, Shihao's eyes lit up, as if he had discovered a new world. Master, are you teaching me to be a hidden master? Meaning don't put all your cultivation level out there, keep some trump cards, and use them at critical moments? Shihao has a high level of comprehension and quickly understood Chu Tian's intention. At the same time, he also had a question in his mind. Have all the disciples of the Holy Demon Mountain learned the void turtle breathing technique? Carry this with you. Chu Tian took out another jade pendant and hung it around Shihao's waist. Shihao asked, Master, what is this? Chu Tian explained. This is a breath-retaining jade pendant invented by the Heavenly Origin Saint Master. It looks like an ordinary jade pendant, but it is made of a special material that can interfere with others prying into you, making your cultivation more concealed. This is the second layer of protection. Every disciple of the Holy Demon Mountain has it. On the surface, it is a token of the Holy Demon Mountain, and it is also a symbol of the disciple's identity. Shihao turned over the jade pendant, and his name and identity information were indeed engraved on the back. He admired this Heavenly Origin Saint Master, whom he had never met, for his meticulous mind. The world is full of vicissitudes, and stability is the best. Chu Tian's teaching successfully instilled the survival wisdom of the sect into Shihao, who had just entered the world. Shihao listened very seriously, nodded, and secretly thought about how much cultivation he should hide in the future. Junior brother, This is a must-learn for every disciple of the Holy Demon Mountain. Xiao Yushuang shook her identity jade pendant and said. Shihao suddenly looked at her seriously and asked, Sister, have you also hidden your cultivation? When we fought just now, I always felt that your cultivation was fluctuating. It turned out that it was not my illusion. No, you think too much. Girls are all simple. How can they have so many schemes? Xiao Yushuang looked directly at Shihao, shook her head and smiled, and did not admit it at all. This is also a concept of the sect. As long as you are not caught on the spot, you will never admit it even if you are beaten to death. You have no evidence, right? Shihao laughed and did not ask any more questions. It was enough to understand it in his heart. You haven't reached the Xuanfu realm yet. There is no place to store some things, so I will give you a storage ring. Use it first. Chu Tian took out a golden ring with a piece of jade embedded in the middle and the word How engraved on it. This is not only a storage ring, but also comes with a powerful method of converging breath. As long as you wear the ring, you can better help Shihao hide himself. It is regarded as the third level of protection given by the master to his apprentice. He felt that the sect's 2 layers of protection were not enough, and 3 layers would be more reassuring. And the storage ring can also block the spiritual detection of some powerful people, which is safer. In addition, if Shihao encounters life-threatening situations, the storage ring will project an image to save him. Of course, there is no need to let Shihao know these. Just hide it. Chu Tian's mind is full of the rewards for signing in for 10 years of the disciple-taking task, although there are more good things on him than in the Sacred Land. But who would complain about having too many good things? So, 3 days later, after Chu Tian explained in detail the matters that Shihao needed to pay attention to in his life in the Free Palace, he quietly left the Holy Demon Mountain. I don't know when I can come back from this trip, so Chu Tian just treats it as a trip. I have been transmigrating for so long, and I haven't taken a good look at this world. This time I will take a good tour. Of course, on the premise of not exposing myself. As a young man with ambitions to be a Taoist, the biggest taboo when going out is to be discovered by others. Who knows if he will be plotted against like the Lord of the Samsara Palace. It is better to be safe than sorry. Chu Tian took out a flying boat from Grotto Heaven, which was a venerable level law weapon. Its biggest feature is its high speed and invisibility. It is just right for transportation. The last time he left the sect, he had to fly by himself, which was indeed a bit tiring. This time he learned to enjoy it. The interior of the flying boat is a space of its own, with a variety of delicious food. There are even entertainment facilities for people to enjoy. Such a venerable level flying boat is probably only used by the Sacred Land. Even if ordinary sects have it, it is difficult to afford the spirit stone consumption when the flying boat is running. 1 medium spirit stone is consumed every minute. Chu Tian came to the power cabin and took out 10,000 high-quality spirit stones and piled them there. Put more, so you don't have to worry about the power problem all the time. Anyway, there is no shortage of spirit stones. Chu Tian made a plan for this time to go out and recruit disciples. He planned to go to some remote mountain villages first to discover potential talents. There are too many top prodigy who are buried in ordinary places because of their poor background. They have never shined in their lives, and they don't know their immortal talent until they die. So, Chu Tian plans to give these people a chance this time, and also give himself a chance. However, half a month later, Chu Tian left the 30th village disappointedly. Sure enough, geniuses are not so easy to meet. After visiting so many villages, Xin-grade talents are rare. Almost all of them are Huang-grade talents, and more are ordinary roots. It is too far from his requirements. It is difficult for such talents to enter the Holy Demon Mountain. Xin-grade talents only have a chance. After wandering around for another 5 days, Chu Tian, who still didn't find the target, was a little helpless. It seems that he has boarded the system's pirate ship. Saint-grade low-grade is too hard to find in this era. System, sign in? It's a new month again, and Chu Tian, helpless, calls the system to sign in. Ding, sign in successfully. Ding, congratulations to the host for obtaining the holy weapon, Zongsheng Sword. Zongsheng Sword? Zongsheng? Why does it sound so familiar? Another great saint weapon. I have too many to take. Chu Tian threw the Zongsheng Sword into Grotto Heaven with disdain. He has weapons of all levels. He has never paid much attention to this kind of sign-in. Reward? Chapter 29, Part 1. At this moment, Chu Tian's flying boat arrived at a place called Lantian Town. The scene in front of him immediately attracted his attention, and his brows gradually tightened. This town was suffering from a bloody massacre by bandits. All residents were killed. The entire Lantian town was almost wiped out. Blood flowed into rivers, corpses piled up like mountains, and broken limbs and debris were everywhere. What's worse, those cruel bandits strung children's heads together, holding these horrible trophies with hideous smiles on their faces. The arrogant bandits laughed wildly and killed unscrupulously, and more lives fell under their blades. These people are all cultivators, and the leader is a master of the Xuanfu realm. The strongest cultivator in Lantian town is the old patriarch of the Lin family. However, he is only a 9th layer of the Juden realm. The moment the bandits poured into Lantian town, the old patriarch of the Lin family was invited to preside over the situation. But as soon as he showed up, he was attacked and killed by the bandit leader and died tragically on the spot. Even his body was devoured by the bandit leader's mount. Obviously, these bandits came prepared and had already figured out the details of Lantian town. When the old patriarch of the Lin family died, his family was the first to bear the brunt. Under the cruel purge of the bandits, less than 1% of the people survived now. Puff, a young man in white clothes stained with blood, staggered, holding a sword, fighting hard in the crowd. He is the last bloodline of the Lin family and the leading genius in Lantian town. At the Lantian town martial arts competition yesterday, young talents from several families competed with each other, and he finally won the first place. The joy has not yet dissipated, but the entire Lantian town has suddenly suffered such a catastrophe. His grandfather was killed, his parents suffered misfortune, and his sister's whereabouts are unknown. All of this almost pushed him to the brink of collapse. He rushed into the bandits desperately, waving his sword vigorously. He wanted to kill one more enemy and avenge his family, but he was too weak. Soon, he fell to the ground with serious injuries and was unable to get up. Lin Chun, a young woman, ran over. She was the girl who had grown up with the young man. She was the daughter of the head of another big family in Lantian town, the Su family. Seeing Lin Chun in danger, she rushed over desperately. However, puff, her arm was cut off by a bandit, and then she was grabbed by her hair and pressed to the ground. A group of bandits immediately surrounded her, right in front of Lin Chun. Her clothes were torn apart piece by piece. Xiaoro, Lin Chun cried out in pain, his eyes full of grief and indignation. The two had been together since childhood and had a deep affection for each other, but now he could only watch her being humiliated. No. Lin Chun struggled desperately, and he didn't know where the strength came from, but he stood up again. He staggered, holding the broken sword, and rushed forward regardless of life and death. Su Xiaoro struggled. She turned her head with difficulty. Lin Chun, hurry, run. She couldn't bear to let Lin Chun die in vain. Even if she encountered misfortune, as long as Lin Chun could survive, it was enough for her. The Su family was destroyed, and it was meaningless for her to live alone. It is better to sacrifice herself and save the one she loves, leaving no regrets. Tears slid down the corners of Su Xiaoro's eyes. She saw Lin Chen being trampled by the bandits again. Xiaoro. Lin Chen lay on the ground with red eyes. Looking at the bullied Su Xiaoro, the scene before his parents died appeared in his mind again. Lin Chen's anger reached an unprecedented peak. Boom. A huge force suddenly surged from his abdomen. Strong electric light traveled all over his body, and the Yuanmai realm bandit who was stepping on him was instantly blown away. In midair, the bandit's legs were grabbed by Lin Chen. He fell to the ground fiercely, and the ground instantly cracked and collapsed. Mercy, mercy. The bandit vomited blood and begged for mercy, and Lin Chen's figure was reflected in his scattered eyes. At this time, Lin Chen was surrounded by electric light, and hundreds of lightning snakes were swimming on his body. His hair stood up, his pupils flashed blue light, and a lightning rune appeared on his forehead. Crack! Lin Chen stepped on the bandit to death with one foot, and then turned into a blue electric light and rushed towards Su Xiaoro. The three bandits who bullied Su Xiaoro also noticed the changes here. They immediately rushed towards Lin Chen. Alas, I'm still a step too late. When Chu Tian arrived, only Lin Chen and Su Xiaoro were left in the town, and everyone else had died. If he had arrived earlier, he might have been able to save more people. Then, his eyes were attracted by Lin Chen. Name, Lin Chen. Age, 18 years old. Realm, 7th layer of Yuanmai realm. Cultivation talent, Daopin apex level talent. Constitution, Thunder fighting body, incomplete. Skills, Xianling Gong, Xian Pin middle grade, Tianling sword technique, Xian Pin low grade. Luck, purple. He actually has a thunder fighting body. This kid can be recruited into the sect, and he will surely become the backbone of the sect in the future. Chu Tian thought to himself. Lin Chen's talent is extremely strong, and he is a Daopin apex level qualification. If he can survive, he can at least become a strong man in the Daopin realm. Holy Demon Mountain needs such talents. Moreover, he also has a special constitution like thunder fighting body. Whether it is talent or combat power, it is far beyond the people of the same level. It is a pity. Lin Chen's thunder combat body is incomplete like Xiao Yushuang's shadow immortal physique. But the situation is slightly better, and the incompleteness is not serious. There is still hope to repair the root. Therefore, the origin of the combat body in his body suddenly awakened, burst out incredible power. But this power is only temporary and will soon dissipate. It's a pity. It will meet the requirements if it is a little higher. Chu Tian shook his head and sighed. Daopin Apex level talent and Saint grade low grade talent are only a thin line apart, but the actual gap is extremely huge. Non-saints are mortals after all. After the thunder combat body power erupted, Lin Chun mastered the power of thunder. Electric snakes raged around him, and the whole person exuded a primitive wild power. The 3 Yuamai realm bandits who suppressed Su Xiaoro just rushed over. They were pierced through the chest by Lin Chen's fist and died on the spot. Monster! Monster! Before the 3 died, they were filled with fear. They had never seen such a horrible scene. Chapter 30, Part 1. Xiaoro. Lin Chun helped Su Xiaoro up and quickly blocked the wound on her broken arm to prevent excessive blood loss. Lin Chen, you should run away. Lantian town is hopeless. Su Xiaoro gently pushed Lin Chen's chest, hoping that he could escape from this place of trouble as soon as possible. But Lin Chen's eyes were extremely determined. Let's go together. I want you to live. Su Xiaoro's heart warmed. Lin Chen was usually dull and knew nothing about love. But this sentence was the most beautiful love words he had ever said. If we go together, I will only hold you back. With your talent, as long as you can escape, you will definitely be able to join a famous sect to practice. It won't take long for you to become extremely powerful. By then, you will definitely be able to avenge me and our family, and I will be satisfied. Although Su Xiaoro wanted to go with Lin Chen in her heart, she still refused rationally. It is always easier to escape danger alone than with 2 people. Besides, she was seriously injured and lost an arm, and her strength was only 1/10 of what it was. Going with her would only be a burden. Let's go. Lin Chun carried Su Xiaoro on his back without any explanation and was about to leave. However, at this moment, more bandits noticed them and quickly surrounded them. Even the leader of the bandits looked at them. Lin Chen held the broken sword tightly, his face firm, and looked around without fear. The power given by the thunder body was still there, and he could show strength beyond his own realm. Kill him. The leader of the bandits rode on a 6-winged demon tiger and ordered in a cold voice. Suddenly, a dozen bandits around showed ferocious smiles. They glanced at Su Xiaoro, their eyes full of greed and evil thoughts. Wait. Next to the pile of corpses in Lantian town, sat a young man in a blood-stained robe. He noticed the situation here, stood up, and walked slowly. Young master. Everyone, including the leader of the bandits, saluted respectfully. The blood-robed youth walked to a place not far in front of Lin Chen and the others and stopped, with a look of surprise on his face. Thunder Fighter Body, yes, you are qualified to be my servant. Submit to me, and you can live. Wishful thinking. Lin Chen retorted without hesitation. This man was the real leader of the bandits and the culprit for the tragic murder of his relatives. No matter what, he would never surrender. You dare to refuse me? The blood-robed youth narrowed his eyes, with a cold light flashing. From childhood to adulthood, no one dared to refuse his recruitment. He was extremely talented, and it was his honor to take a fancy to Lin Chen. He was so ungrateful. You are really looking for death. The young master accepted you as a servant to give you face, but you don't know what is good for you. Upon hearing this, the bandits were furious and raised the law weapon in their hands, wishing to tear Lin Chen into pieces. The young man in the blood-robed robe said again, Do you know who I am? Do you know my identity? How dare you reject me? Low-grade Saint grade talent. Found it. Chu Tian stared at the young man in the blood-robed robe with surprise. This person had been sitting still before and did not attract his attention at all. I didn't expect that he was a genius with low-grade Saint grade talent. Chu Tian immediately checked his information. Name, Zhou Mingyu. Age, 25 years old. Realm, Juden Realm 7th layer. Heaven. Identity, young master of the Blood Spirit Sect, a disciple of the Blood Spirit Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul. Cultivation talent, low-grade Saint grade talent. Kung Fu, Blood Spirit skill, Heavenly grade intermediate. Blood drinking curse, Saint grade intermediate. Primordial origin fist, Tao Pin apex level. Luck, blue. Young master of Blood Spirit Sect. Blood Spirit Sect? I don't have much impression of it. It's probably a remote small sect. Chu Tian shook his head and focused on Zhou Mingyu's second identity. Blood Spirit Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul Disciple. Remnant Soul Grandpa? Oh my god, cheating. Just blue luck. There are other Remnant Souls of Saint Venerable level to help. This luck is really good. Not only does he have a Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul as his master, Zhou Mingyu's own talent is also top level. Low-grade Saint grade talent, in the entire Daxu, is the top of the pyramid. If it develops normally, the future achievements are immeasurable. Enough to be compared with the Saint Child of Sacred Land. Low-grade Saint grade talent. Sacred Venerable talent. Such talent was not uncommon in the Yellow Emperor era 30,000 years ago. Even the apex-level geniuses in the Sacred Land of Jidao are mostly Sacred Venerable talents. But in this Dharma-ending era, Sacred Venerable talents are extremely rare. It is difficult to find one in 1,000,000 people. Because of the suppression of the laws of heaven and earth, people who could have grown into great saints or even quasi-emperors 30,000 years ago, born in this era, they were suppressed to low-grade saint grade, born at the wrong time, affecting your life. If you want to change, talent can only be improved unless the Dharma-ending era ends. The system's set goals are too high, according to Chu Tian's own ideas. Except for the inheritors of Zizai Palace, other disciples can reach the Dao level. The requirements are so high that it is too difficult to find. But, finally, he still met him. Zhou Mingyu. Chu Tian stared at him, but his brows gradually frowned. This kid. Because he found that although this person has outstanding talents, but his character is extremely bad, he is really a despicable person. What does your identity have to do with me? Lin Chen sneered after hearing Zhou Mingyu's words. Zhou Mingyu snorted and suddenly smiled again. In fact, they are not bandits, but disciples of the Blood Spirit Sect, honest disciples. When he said the words honest disciples, he deliberately emphasized the tone, obviously wanting to remind Lin Chen. It was also this young master who asked them to kill all the people in Lantian town. Chapter 31, Part 1. When Lin Chen heard this, he immediately became furious. His eyes turned red. He stared at Zhou Mingyu. Why do you do this? What good will it do you? Why? Zhou Mingyu said with a playful smile. Ants are not qualified to ask why. I want you to die. You have to die. I want you to live. It's hard for you to die. This is what strength brings. You guys who sit in the well and watch the sky will never understand. Ha ha ha. Zhou Mingyu's words pierced Lin Chen's heart like a needle, and the cruelty of reality was heartbreaking. Lantian town was destroyed, and the Lin family was completely wiped out, all because they were too weak. When the strong raised the butcher knife, they didn't even have the ability to resist. You don't seem to have tasted real despair yet. Go, catch the woman next to him. This young master will humiliate his woman under his nose until he kneels down and begs for mercy. Zhou Mingyu sneered. Those disciples of the Blood Spirit Sect who pretended to be bandits showed obscene smiles and approached Lin Chen step by step. At this time Chu Tian suddenly appeared in the center of the field. His powerful aura instantly shook off all the disciples of the Blood Spirit Sect who surrounded him. He waved his hand lightly, and all the disciples of the Blood Spirit Sect who were disguised as bandits, including the bandit leader in the Xuanfu realm, all turned into ashes, and no bones were left. Who are you? Zhou Mingyu looked at Chu Tian vigilantly. He couldn't tell how this person appeared. Moreover, the strength shown by this person seemed very strong. Young master, this person is very dangerous. Two old men in blood robes suddenly appeared and protected Zhou Mingyu behind them. They are the elders of the Blood Spirit Sect, responsible for secretly protecting the safety of the young master. A low-grade saint-grade talent is worth any price for the Blood Spirit Sect, as long as he grows smoothly, not to mention reaching the Saint Venerable realm, even if it is the Dao realm. For the Blood Spirit Sect, it will bring unimaginable benefits. Chu Tian looked at Zhou Mingyu, his heart full of disappointment and regret. It was not easy to meet a person with the right talent, but he was a guy with bad character. This kind of person is not qualified to be his disciple, not even qualified to be a disciple of the Holy Demon Mountain, even if he has apex-level saint rank talent. Come here, both of you. Chu Tian waved to Lin Chen and Su Xiaoro. Senior. Lin Chen walked over hesitantly. He felt that Chu Tian had no ill intentions and could be trusted. Stand behind me, I will guarantee your safety. After hearing this, Lin Chen and Su Xiaoro almost cried with joy and said hurriedly, Thank you for saving me, I will. Chu Tian waved his hand and said, No need to thank me, it's just a piece of cake. If it weren't for Lin Chen's good talent and Su Xiaoro's talent, he might not have shown up at all. Senior. Lin Chen said, The other party is the young master of the Blood Spirit Sect, and those two may be the elders of the sect. You? Blood Spirit Sect? It's just a small force that doesn't make it into the mainstream. Chu Tian put his hands behind his back and didn't care. This kind of low-end sect can be solved with superficial strength. A breath can destroy a large area. There is no need to take it to heart. You are so arrogant. Zhou Mingyu passed the two elders and stared at Chu Tian coldly, saying, I don't think you are much older than me, but you are more arrogant than me. I am so strong. How can I not be arrogant? Chu Tian looked at Zhou Mingyu, a smile on his lips, and said, You. I. Zhou Mingyu choked with this sentence, not knowing how to respond. Damn it. Have you ever seen such a shameless person, and someone who brags about himself so blatantly? You are young and promising, so you should keep a low profile. An elder spoke, with a cold light flashing in his eyes, and said, I am an elder of the Blood Spirit Sect. If you leave now, I can't pretend that nothing happened, otherwise you may end up in trouble. Chu Tian glanced at him coldly. Puff. Just a glance, The elder who spoke instantly exploded like a watermelon. Blood and flesh fragments splashed all over Zhou Mingyu and another elder. The two were stunned. Dead, dead? The remaining elder's face changed drastically, and he hurriedly said, "Senior, we have no intention of offending you. Please forgive us, we will leave now." Right away? As he said that, he pulled Zhou Mingyu and wanted to leave. Let go. Zhou Mingyu had the sacred venerable remnant soul in his body, which gave him great courage, and he was not afraid of Chu Tian at all. He didn't believe that this person could be more powerful than the sacred venerable remnant soul. Young master, don't ask for trouble. The elder was almost crying in anxiety. He knew that if he didn't leave now, he would never be able to leave again. But he couldn't leave Zhou Mingyu and run away by himself. Otherwise the blood spirit sect would not let him go. Chu Tian saw through his reliance, smiled contemptuously, and said, "A mere sacred venerable remnant soul dares to say that you are brave?" Zhou Mingyu was shocked. "How did you know?" The anxious elder was stunned. Sacred venerable remnant soul? The entire blood spirit sect didn't know that Zhou Mingyu had such a big secret. He suddenly became excited. The young master was not only a low-grade saint-grade talent, but also had the assistance of the sacred venerable residual soul. In the future, wouldn't the blood spirit sect lead him to the top of Daxu? Chu Tian didn't say much nonsense and shot a stream of light between his fingers, hitting Zhou Mingyu. Suddenly, Zhou Mingyu screamed, his face full of pain. "Don't hurt the young master," the elder shouted hurriedly, and the perfect breath of the Xuanfu realm burst out instantly, gritted his teeth, and rushed towards Chu Tian. With a puff, before he got close, he was shaken into a pulp by Chu Tian's momentum. He didn't even make a sound, and died tragically on the spot. This senior is so terrifying. Chapter 32, Part 1. Lin Chen and Su Xiaoro were both stunned, their mouths slightly opened. Two elders with perfect cultivation in Xuanfu realm. One of them was stared to death, and the other was killed by the aura. How terrifying cultivation can be achieved? Lin Chen's breathing became rapid, staring at Chu Tian's back. What he had always longed for was to have this peerless master to teach him. Now he finally met him. "Shaozi, how do you know the existence of this saint?" A fiery red shadow appeared above Zhou Mingyu's head, floating there. It was a gray-haired old man with extremely sharp eyes. He was staring at Chu Tian again and again, but he couldn't see through him at all. Even the early stage of the Dao Dao realm could not escape his perception. Why couldn't this young man see anything? In an instant, he became alert. This person looks like a young man, but it is very likely that he is a 1,000-year-old monster with a terrifying cultivation. It may be the late stage of the Dao Dao realm. If this is the case, then it's dangerous. His current strength is not the opponent of the late-stage strongman. He shouted at Zhou Mingyu, "Disciple, retreat quickly. Master is not his opponent." As a former Saint Venerable level strongman, the fiery red remnant soul is definitely not confused. It can even be said to be very smart. For opponents that he can't beat, even if it's just a hunch, he will flee without hesitation. It was like this before, and it is still like this now. "Disciple, retreat quickly." The fiery red sacred venerable remnant soul urged anxiously. His soul and Zhou Mingyu's soul have been fused, and they can't be separated for a long time. Hearing his words, Zhou Mingyu didn't move at all, but became a little confused. "Master, you were once a sacred venerable. How can a kid who has not practiced for many years still be able to defeat you? Stop pretending, and quickly suppress him. I can't wait to loot the treasures on him." Zhou Mingyu's face was excited. In his eyes, sacred venerable was invincible. Although his master was just a remnant soul, he was also an extremely powerful existence. Chu Tian looked like he was only 100 years old at most. In the world of cultivation, how strong can such a young man be? "I'm playing your uncle." The remnant soul of sacred venerable was about to curse, and at this moment he was as anxious as an ant on a hot pot. Looking back, he saw Chu Tian looking at him quietly, with a smile on his lips. The more he looked at him, the more frightened he was. He believed that his intuition must be right. "We can't beat this person. Mingyu, this person's real age must be over 1,000 years old. He looks young on the surface. He must have taken some special drugs. Don't be fooled by this appearance. Listen to the master. Retreat quickly." The sacred venerable remnant soul urged, but unfortunately his soul can only survive by borrowing Zhou Mingyu's soul. Once separated, it will soon disperse. Otherwise, the moment Zhou Mingyu spoke just now, he would have been so angry that he ran away. "What? He is actually more than a little older than me?" Zhou Mingyu was not stupid. He reacted immediately, secretly annoyed that he was fooled by Chu Tian's young appearance. He turned around and ran. The sacred venerable remnant soul floated behind his head, constantly urging, "Hurry, hurry, use your body skills." As he said, He raised his hand and shot a stream of light into Zhou Mingyu's body. In an instant, Zhou Mingyu's speed increased sharply, and a series of afterimages followed behind him. Then, the remaining soul of Sacred Venerable turned around and used a confusing Taoist method. He wanted to conceal the whereabouts of the two people so that they would have a greater chance of escaping, because he knew that Zhou Mingyu alone could not escape. A blood-red fog suddenly rose in Lantian town, and the spiritual sense was obscured, and the visible distance was no more than 2 feet. After doing all this, Sacred Venerable's residual soul still felt unsafe. He raised his hand and pointed, shooting out several streams of light, entering the dead bodies in Lantian town. Those corpses moved immediately, stood up and roared fiercely. Their eyes turned white and ran towards Chu Tian. You let me down. I was wrong. I shouldn't have had any hope. Disperse. A word of truth spit out from his mouth. The surrounding fog trap array dispersed in an instant, and the running zombies also fell down powerlessly. The Taoism of Sacred Venerable's residual soul was simply not worth mentioning in his eyes. Chu Tian raised his hand and grabbed. Zhou Mingyu and the Sacred Venerable remnant soul who had run 100 miles away instantly left the ground and flew back. The two fell in front of Chu Tian, unable to move. Young man, let's talk. The Sacred Venerable remnant soul rubbed his hands and smiled flatteringly. He didn't care about his Sacred Venerable identity at all. After all, saving his life is the most important thing. Senior, I am a Saint-grade low-grade talent. If you let me go, I can worship you as my master. Senior, you should also want a Saint-grade talent to be your disciple, right? It will be glorious if it spreads out. Zhou Mingyu shouted. He didn't believe that Chu Tian would not be tempted by Saint-grade talent. Who would resist a Saint-grade talent disciple? You are the stupidest person I have ever seen. My dog is smarter than you. Chu Tian felt a little regretful, but he still killed Zhou Mingyu very decisively. He snapped his fingers. Swish. A blood hole appeared between Zhou Mingyu's eyebrows, and he fell down with his eyes blank. I am unwilling. Why did this remnant soul of the saint resurrect and do nothing? I am wronged. Once Zhou Mingyu died, his soul was annihilated. The remnant soul of Sacred Venerable originally lived in his soul, and now it will also perish with him. Unless a new host can be found immediately, he will die. Chu Tian looked at his wailing appearance, and there was almost no ripple in his heart. Thinking of the previous performance of the remnant soul of Sacred Venerable, he suddenly had an idea. This person is a Sacred Venerable remnant soul, although he is arrogant. But just because he feels that he can't beat the opponent, he decisively put down his dignity and ran away, not caring about his face. So his character must be very cowardly. To be a Sacred Venerable, he must be a cowardly person. This kind of person should be more suitable for our holy demon mountain. The Sacred Venerable remnant soul may have a chance to be reborn in a body in the future and become a real Sacred Venerable. Thinking of this, Chu Tian made a decision, put his 2 fingers together and guided, and stopped the Sacred Venerable remnant soul from destroying. Senior, spare my life. The Sacred Venerable remnant soul was obviously still in shock and even called out the word, Senior. Don't call me old. Chu Tian waved his hand and said, I'll give you a chance to live and see if you cherish it. You must cherish it, Senior. I will cherish it very much. No matter what conditions you have, as long as you can live, I will agree. The remnant soul of Sacred Venerable perfectly interprets the man's ability to bend and stretch. Chapter 33, Part 1. Chu Tian nodded gently. Then, he looked at Lin Shen and Su Xiaoro and asked, You two have nowhere to go now. Are you willing to go back to the sect with me? I don't know what sect your predecessor belongs to. Su Xiaoro just opened her mouth, but before she finished, Lin Shen suddenly held her hand and signaled him to answer. Lin Shen said, Senior, Xiaoro and I are willing. He made the decision directly, because many predecessors have strange personalities. Since he has saved them and is willing to take them in. If you care too much about what sect your predecessor belongs to at this time, it may make the other party unhappy. Very good. Chu Tian looked at Lin Shen with appreciation and said, In this case, you two are disciples of the Holy Demon Mountain. With your qualifications, especially Lin Shen, it's no problem to become a true disciple. Lin Shen has the top talent of Taoism and a thunder combat body. Becoming a true disciple is a foregone conclusion. As for Su Xiaoro, Chu Tian checked her information. Her talent is second only to Lin Shen in Lantian Town, and belongs to the middle heavenly grade. If everything goes well in the future, she can also become a cultivator of the heavenly grade. Master Shengma will be very happy to bring these 2 people. Especially there is an extra gain, Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul. That will make him even happier. Holy Demon Mountain. One of the 9 Transcendent Level sects in Daxu. Lin Shen and Su Xiaoro were very surprised. I didn't expect that the senior in front of me was a strong man from Holy Demon Mountain. No wonder his cultivation was so strong. Chu Tian nodded and looked at Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul again. Senior. Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul rubbed his hands and tried to show a kind smile. Your situation is special, and I have urgent matters to attend to. I can't go back to the sect for the time being, so? Chu Tian turned to Lin Shun and said, Lin Shun, this Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul will follow you in the future. Ah. Lin Shun was stunned. Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul is going to be given to him? Although the Remnant Soul of Sacred Venerable is not a real Sacred Venerable, but his cultivation techniques, experience, divine ability, secret techniques, etc. are all priceless treasures. Especially today when Sacred Venerable is hard to come by, it is even more precious. How many geniuses dare not even dream of having a Sacred Venerable as their teacher? Senior, this is the Remnant Soul of Sacred Venerable. You keep it. His cultivation techniques, experience, etc. will definitely be of great benefit to you. Maybe it can give you guidance on your way to becoming a saint in the future, Lin Chen said. He really wanted it in his heart, but he also had to stay rational. What if this was a test of his character by the senior? Wouldn't he have fallen into a trap? Help me? Chu Tian smiled and shook his head. With his cultivation level, would he need a remnant soul of Sacred Venerable to help? Help him retreat? Okay, I don't need these. Since you have good qualifications and are about to become the true disciple of my sect, I will give it to you specially. Don't refuse. As soon as the voice fell, he didn't wait for Lin Shun to speak. Chu Tian put his fingers together and guided the Sacred Venerable's residual soul to Lin Shun. Relax your body and mind. Don't resist. Lin Chen immediately did as he was told, sitting cross-legged, closing his eyes, and trying to relax. Chu Tian placed his other hand on Lin Chen's crown. He applied gentle force, and then pulled it out quickly. A pale white shadow was pulled out of Lin Chen's body. This is Lin Chen's soul. Hurry, hurry, hurry. This saint is coming back to life again. The Sacred Venerable's residual soul had no psychological burden and was very happy. Soon, his residual soul collided with Lin Chen's soul. Swish. White smoke instantly rose between the two souls. A closer look showed that Lin Chen's soul was too weak. It was difficult to merge, and a lot of it was evaporated. Lin Shun frowned painfully, but he didn't dare to forget Chu Tian's words in his heart. He stuck to his original intention, relaxed his whole body, and let his soul be controlled. Lin Shun, come on. Su Xiaoro looked at him worriedly, very nervous. What are you laughing at? Quickly suppress your soul strength. I think you don't want to live? Seeing this, Chu Tian glanced at the grinning, Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul and shouted coldly. The villain wants to live, wants to live. The Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul quickly suppressed its soul strength, but this only slowed down the evaporation speed of Lin Chen's soul a little. Lin Chen, who was in the Yuamai realm, had a very weak soul. Without reaching the Juden realm and opening the sea of consciousness, it was difficult to withstand this kind of soul-boarding fusion. But this certainly didn't bother Chu Tian. He just spit out a mouthful of immortal qi. Immortal qi floated around Lin Chen's soul. The phenomenon of soul evaporation disappeared instantly, and it began to merge perfectly with the Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul. My soul strength has reached the Xuanfu realm level in an instant. Chu Tian's immortal qi was a manifestation of his soul power. It was just a little bit integrated into Lin Chen's soul, but it instantly made Lin Chen's soul strength surpass the Juden realm. It reached the strength of the Xuanfu realm. Lin Chen was secretly excited. This was a great opportunity. When the Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul successfully merged with Lin Chen, Chu Tian took back the immortal qi and sent Lin Chen's soul back to his body. Thank you, Senior. Lin Chen opened his eyes and knelt down to thank him. These two opportunities are no less than the grace of rebirth and will definitely affect his life. We are already fellow disciples. Why bother to thank you? If you really want to thank me, then work hard to serve the sect in the future. Chu Tian waved his hand and said nonchalantly. For him, this was just a piece of cake. The Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul was useless to him, and there was no need to give it to Shi Hao. He could give Shi Hao better, and there was no need for the Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul to mislead people. Moreover, the Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul is in a special situation. If it does not find a new host, it will soon dissipate. With his magic power, he can only protect him for a short time. This time, it may take several months at most to go out and recruit disciples. The Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul can't last that long. It must be hosted to survive. It just so happens that Lin Xian is willing to join the Holy Demon Mountain. His qualifications are not bad, so giving him the Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul is not an insult. On the contrary, for Lin Xian, who already has the top talent of Dao grade, with the assistance of the Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul, his future achievements may not be worse than Zhou Mingyu, who was originally a Saint grade talent. Moreover, Lin Shun also has a special physique. His future achievements are absolutely limitless. In the future, in the ancestral tomb of the Holy Demon Mountain, there may be a strong man with apex-level background lying. When leaving Lantian town, Chu Tian dispersed the surrounding mysteries to prevent others from calculating what happened here. With the experience of Dao Miao Sect last time, this time, he was more cautious. Eliminate all possible risks of exposure. Even the smallest possibility must be eliminated at the budding stage. Then, Chu Tian came to the Blood Spirit Sect. After waving his hand to destroy it, he also dispersed the surrounding mysteries. The Blood Spirit Sect has committed many evils and claimed to be righteous, but they acted without humanity. Although Chu Tian did not have much compassion, but the tragic situation in Lantian town made even him feel terrified. Such an evil sect should not exist in the world. Destroying it is enough to save millions of people. Chapter 34, Part 1. After handling everything, the four of them boarded the flying boat. Soaring in the void, they set out on the journey of recruiting disciples again. This flying boat is really luxurious. Such a treasure is not something that ordinary people can afford, right? The remnant soul of Sacred Venerable widened his eyes and smacked his lips. Looking at the tens of thousands of spirit stones in the power room, he almost drooled. Looking back on his previous life, as a Sacred Venerable, he was actually very poor. For a few resources, he did a lot of sneaky things. He even almost died tragically in the hands of others several times because of fighting for resources. 1,000 high-grade spirit stones are equivalent to 100,000 medium-grade spirit stones and 10 million low-grade spirit stones, just piled up like this casually and supplied to the flying boat. How rich and powerful this must be. Lin Shun pursed his lips and his eyes were straight. Although he was once the young master of the Lin family, but he had never seen a high-grade spirit stone, let alone so many high-grade spirit stones. If used for cultivation, how long would it take to absorb? Lin Shun, your saliva is about to flow down. Su Xiaoro covered her mouth and chuckled. Haha, sorry, I lost my composure. Lin Shun smiled awkwardly, which was not his character. But the loss of his relatives greatly increased his desire for power. So, seeing tens of thousands of high-quality spirit stones, he lost his composure a little. Boy. The Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul leaned close to Lin Shun's ear and said, your qualifications are not bad, with the apex level of Dao Pin and the Thunder Battle Body. In this Dharma-ending age, there are very few people who can compare with you. Lin Shun looked at him and asked, what do you mean? The Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul chuckled, glanced at Chu Tian who was sitting at the front of the flying boat, and said, this person is unfathomable and so rich. Why don't you worship him as your master? Worship him as your master? Lin Shun looked at Chu Tian. Didn't he have this idea? As early as when he found Chu Tian's superior strength, he had this idea. He also knew that he had good qualifications, but the other party not only saved him, but was willing to take him back to the sect. If he asked for too much, he might cause the other party's disgust and backfire. He planned to consider this matter after practicing in the Holy Demon Mountain for a period of time. Sacred Venerable's residual soul said, what are you afraid of? If you don't dare, I'll help you say it. Okay. Lin Shun actually agreed directly. Sacred Venerable's residual soul didn't expect Lin Shun to be so straightforward, and said awkwardly, this saint thinks that this matter needs to be considered in the long run. Obviously, he didn't dare. Lin Shun rolled his eyes when he heard it. If he didn't dare, he didn't dare. There were no excuses. He also saw that although this Sacred Venerable's residual soul was Sacred Venerable, but he was timid and cautious. When he encountered dangerous things, he always stayed away. What's the look in your eyes? Sacred Venerable's residual soul put his hands on his waist and put on a menacing look. A child dared to ignore him. How could he survive? Don't scare Lin Shun, or I'll tell the seniors that you bullied us. Su Xiaoro raised her little fist and shook it. She and Lin Shun were of the same mind, and she was even willing to go through fire and water for Lin Shun. She wore a green skirt, behaved dignifiedly, had fair skin, and delicate features. Although she was not a peerless beauty, she was also very attractive. Xiaoro. Lin Shun smiled and shook his head, took Su Xiaoro's hand, and signaled her to save some face for the Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul. Su Xiaoro was stunned by Lin Chen's hand, and her pretty face blushed involuntarily. She could feel that Lin Chen's attitude towards her was different from before. Yo yo yo. The Sacred Venerable Remnant Soul whistled and smacked his lips, instantly destroying the warm atmosphere between the two. Lin Chen said unhappily, in fact, you don't need to give him face too much in the future. Because he doesn't care about face, it's useless to give it. Puff. Su Xiaoro covered her mouth and chuckled. Looking at Lin Chen's profile, her heartbeat accelerated. This guy has really changed. Chu Tian, who was sitting at the front of the flying boat, lay leisurely on the chair high-grade tea. Although the three people deliberately lowered their voices, how could they hide it from him? If this kid really speaks, should I refuse him? Chu Tian was still a little hesitant. Lin Xin had good character and good qualifications. He also had a special physique. Overall, he was enough to become his disciple. However, he was still considering it, because once he agreed, he would be responsible for Lin Xin's future. The cause and effect of the two would be intertwined. For him who believed in the concept of Go Dao, too many causes and effects were not a good thing. In the next 2 months, the flying boat transmigrated to Gu Luozhou and finally entered Qingzhou. This is the sphere of influence of Heavenly Jade Sacred Land. Daxu is divided into Gu Luozhou, Qingzhou, and Cangzhou, while the other Dao Sacred Land Xingqian Ancient Sect is located in Cangzhou. It's really hard to find. Chu Tian stood with his hands behind his back, standing at the front of the flying boat, looking at the sea of clouds in front of him, feeling a little helpless. In 2 months, I didn't even meet a person with Saint-grade low-grade qualifications. It was really too difficult. If it doesn't work, go to Dao Sacred Land and kidnap one back? They must be hiding a few Saint-grade low-grade talents. This idea just flashed through my mind and was rejected by Chu Tian. Just kidding. I am a young man of Go Dao. How could I do such a thing? What if they get angry and ask the ancestor to figure out my identity? Wouldn't it cause trouble for the sect? In these 2 months, he didn't get nothing. There are 2 more people on the flying boat. Both of them have Dao Pin qualifications, and they are twins. Prepare to bring him back to the sect for training. With such qualifications, he should be able to enter the ancestral mausoleum in the future after further training. Name, Tong Yi. Age, 20 years old. Realm, None. Identity, mortal. Training qualifications, Dao Pin medium qualifications. Other qualifications, Dao Pin medium earth attribute qualifications, Dao Pin low-grade sword path qualifications, heavenly grade upper formation path qualifications. Constitution, black eveline body, not awakened, luck, purple. Name, Tong Air. Age, 20 years old. Realm, None. Identity, mortal. Training qualifications, Dao Pin medium qualifications. Other qualifications, Dao Pin medium earth attribute qualifications, Dao Pin low-grade sword path qualifications, heavenly grade upper formation path qualifications. Constitution, black evil young body, not awakened, luck, purple. Except for their special physiques, the other 2 are almost the same. It is worth mentioning that the 2 special physiques, black eveline body and black evil young body, are not strong when taken alone. Although the physiques of the 2 are perfect, they are inferior to Lin Chen's incomplete thunder battle body. But this is only the case when they appear alone. When the black evil Yin body and the black evil young body appear at the same time, the 2 of them join forces, and at the same level, they can fight even if they encounter the sacred body of reincarnation. These 2 physiques belong to the physiques that can body integration, which can evolve Yin and Yang and perform special Taoist methods, and are very powerful. Chapter 35, Part 1. Tong Yi and Tong Air are twins, with the resonance of heart and spirit. When they work together, they are at ease and without any pressure. Later, the 2 brothers became more and more powerful, as long as they did not separate. Even if the opponent is a few small realms higher than them, it is difficult to defeat them. There is a legend that before becoming Emperor Venerable, there was a person who challenged all the powerful people close to the Emperor Venerable level in the entire starry sky. He did this to reach the extreme in battle. He broke through the Emperor Tribulation, merged the Heavenly Heart Seal, and finally ascended to the position of Emperor Venerable. Before this Emperor Venerable attained enlightenment. The most difficult battle was against the twin brothers with the black evil Yin body and the black evil Yang body. That battle lasted for decades, and the scene was tragic. The powerful person who was about to become Emperor Venerable almost bled on the spot and ended in defeat. So, when Chu Tian saw Tong Yi and Tong Air, he immediately decided to take them back to the sect and train them as the future pillars of the sect. Zuling needs such talents. After entering Qingzhou, the number of geniuses has increased significantly, but Chu Tian doesn't want to bring just anyone back to the sect for training. The Holy Demon Mountain has a deep foundation, and his vision is extremely high. Therefore, after Tong Yi and Tong Air, no one was allowed to board the ship. Another month later, the flying boat was about to leave Qingzhou. Entering Cangzhou, there is the territory of the Star Ancient Sect. On the edge of Qingzhou, today is the day when Qinkuan Grotto Heaven, one of the 9 Transcendent Level sects, holds an enrollment ceremony. Millions of people gathered in the square in front of the Qinkuan Grotto Heaven Mountain Gate. A sea of heads, geniuses from all walks of life gathered together. The atmosphere was warm, and the square was full of heated discussions. A young man in a yellow robe looked ordinary, standing there, as if all this had nothing to do with him. However, he still caused the amazement of the people around him. Wow, isn't this Xinqing? This guy actually left Heavenly Jade Sacred Land and ran to Qinkuan Grotto Heaven to participate in the enrollment examination. Heavenly Jade Sacred Land will be furious if they know about this? Yes, he is one of the contemporary candidates for Saint Child of Heavenly Jade Sacred Land, but he resolutely left Sacred Land after losing the election. Maybe he feels that he has no hope. The Saint Child candidate has been decided, and the resources of Heavenly Jade Sacred Land will definitely lean towards that side. That's right. Although Xinqing has Saint-grade low-grade talent, I heard that the legendary Saint Child is stronger. Chu Tian stared at the bottom, or to be exact, at Xinqing. His face changed from calm to doubtful, and then to surprised. This guy. Wow. At the same time, he also heard the discussions of the people around him. This guy didn't even get the position of Saint Child. So what kind of person should the Saint Child of Heavenly Jade Sacred Land be? But Chu Tian didn't care about the Saint Child of Tianxin at all. He was more concerned about Xinqing. Name, Xinqing. Age, 23 years old. Realm, Juden Realm 8th Layer Heaven. Surface, Xuanfu Realm 1st Layer Heaven. Actual, identity, former Saint Child candidate of Heavenly Jade Sacred Land, reincarnation of the blood and soul of the ancient profound Emperor cultivation talent, Saint rank supreme grade talent physique, ancient Xian immortal body, incomplete, Kung Fu, ancient profound Emperor Sutra, incomplete, divine ability, ancient Xian Wuji Dao, incomplete, law treasure, ancient profound, immortal seal, replica, luck, gold, ancient profound emperor. Chu Tian was really surprised. This Xinqing is actually a drop of emperor's blood from the ancient profound emperor, a reincarnation of a trace of soul, ancient profound immortal body, ancient profound infinite Tao, etc. These are the famous physiques and divine abilities of the ancient profound emperor. As the last human race emperor venerable in the history of the human race, people's memories of him are undoubtedly clear. Legend has it that the ancient profound emperor went to an unknown place and immortal transformed ascension soon after returning. He is the emperor venerable with the shortest lifespan. Now it seems that the ancient profound emperor left a backup before the immortal transformation and lived again. Today's Xinqing is the reincarnated ancient profound emperor. However, I don't know if it is because of the reincarnation of the drop of blood. Xinqing's ancient profound immortal body, ancient profound emperor sutra, and ancient profound infinite Tao are all incomplete. Even the talent is only saint rank supreme grade. Compared with the former emperor grade talent, the gap is more than a little bit. Xinqing should have been reserved when he participated in the Heavenly Jade Sacred Land Saint Child assessment. Otherwise, with his talent, it would be easy to become a Saint Child. But he gave up that opportunity and came to Qinkuan Grotto Heaven to participate in the admissions assessment. There is something fishy about this. We must find a way to stop him from entering Qinkuan Grotto Heaven. Such a talent should go to the Holy Demon Mountain. Chu Tian quickly calculated in his mind and was about to take action. Suddenly he stopped again because an accident happened in the square. Xinqing turned a deaf ear to the surrounding discussions and did not want to have anything to do with them. His identity is special and must not be exposed. Heavenly Jade Sacred Land has divine weapon, and divine weapon has spirit. The longer you stay there, the more likely your identity will be discovered. Moreover, a terrible ancestor of Heavenly Jade Sacred Land has recently awakened. Spiritual sense is like the sea, covering the entire sacred land. For safety, Xinqing chose to leave Heavenly Jade Sacred Land. He had to be careful, because if something went wrong, what awaited him would be the end of myriad tribulations. Don't look at him as an ancient profound emperor, commanding hundreds of millions of myriad races and respected by the world. Once the old ancestor discovered his identity, the other party would not care who you are at all. He would devour him without hesitation to help himself go further on the road to becoming an emperor. He knew it too well. Although he was the reincarnation of a soul with the blood of the emperor, his memory was incomplete. But he also understood how great a temptation he was to those old monsters who were about to reach the end of the road to becoming an emperor. So leaving Dao Sacred Land early was a kind of protection for himself. The reason why he chose Qinkuan Grotto Heaven was because Xinqing wanted to grow quickly, which was inseparable from the support of a large amount of resources. It would be difficult to do it by himself. Qinkuan Grotto Heaven is the 4th-ranked apex level force among the 9 Transcendent Level sects in Daxu, and its resources are definitely the best in the entire Daxu. Although he only showed the talent of Saint grade low grade, it should not be difficult to join Grotto Heaven in this era. Wait until he obtains a lot of resources and concentrates on practicing for 100 years. At that time, when he is strong, he can go to the ancient profound emperor's mausoleum. His memory is incomplete, his foundation is incomplete, and everything is incomplete. He needs the emperor's heart of the emperor's corpse to fill these regrets. Although he had a mortal transformation in his previous life, he deliberately left the emperor's heart for today and buried it somewhere. It's just that because of his incomplete memory, he can't remember the specific location. He can only wait until he is strong in the future and dig every corner of the great ruins, hoping to find the ancient profound emperor's mausoleum. Chapter 36, Part 1. At this time, the vast gate of grotto heaven slowly opened. A crane flew over and landed gently above everyone's head. On the crane's back stood an old man with a beard fluttering in the wind. He looked down at a certain point, with a trace of regret in his eyes. Xinqing looked up and found that the old man's eyes were facing him. Everyone noticed it and looked at Xinqing quietly, their eyes full of envy. It's really not easy. A talent of low-grade Saint grade. Even the elders of Qingkuan Grotto Heaven came to welcome him in person. It's true. As long as you have enough talent, you will be welcomed everywhere. Even if he leaves Heavenly Jade Sacred Land, he will be easily snatched by the other 9 Transcendent Level sects. The Crane Elder looked at Xinqing, shook his head, and sighed, "Go. Qingkuan Grotto Heaven can't accommodate you." Xinqing blinked, a little confused. "Senior, why?" The Crane Elder said, "You should know it in your heart, so don't ask again." After hearing this, Xinqing shook his head helplessly and turned to leave. He walked through the crowd and disappeared at the other end of the square. Oh, what's going on? Qingkuan Grotto Heaven doesn't want a talent like Xinqing? Are you stupid? There must be something fishy here. How could Qingkuan Grotto Heaven not look down on a talent of low-grade Saint grade? That's right. If I guess correctly, it may be because of Heavenly Jade Sacred Land. You mean, Heavenly Jade Sacred Land blocked Xinqing? That's about it. Indeed, Heavenly Jade Sacred Land seems to hate disciples leaving. Every time this happens, the disciples who leave can hardly join other big sections. It's a pity. Although he can still join a small sect, it's too frustrating for Xinqing. Even if it's Xinqing, if he joins a small sect, there will be a shortage of resources, and his future achievements will be greatly limited. The discussion of the crowd made the regret on the face of Elder Xinhe even stronger. This is a talent of low-grade Saint grade, and he just let it go. Damn Heavenly Jade Sacred Land. The Crane Elder was helpless. Qingkuan Grotto Heaven and Heavenly Jade Sacred Land were on the same continent and knew how terrible the other party was. They couldn't afford to offend. Since the other party had spoken, Qingkuan Grotto Heaven had to obey. Heavenly Jade Sacred Land is really overbearing. Chu Tian sneered. Xinqing is a gifted person. Even in the extreme Sacred Land, he is a top existence. Although he was not selected as a saint child, he will definitely become an apex-level strongman in the future if he is trained. But he suddenly chose to withdraw from Sacred Land for no apparent reason. This is unacceptable to Sacred Land. Although Heavenly Jade Sacred Land will not kill Xinqing for this, it will not let him off easily. He will be blacklisted by the 9 Transcendent Level sects in Daxu. Several Apex-level forces are not allowed to accept him as a disciple. Qingkuan Grotto Heaven doesn't dare, but I do. Chu Tian snorted. He already had a plan. As long as he leaves no trace, no one will know. Even Heavenly Jade Sacred Land can't find him. Of course, he is not afraid of Heavenly Jade Sacred Land. He just doesn't want to cause trouble to Holy Demon Mountain. Thinking of this, Chu Tian manipulated the flying boat to approach Xinqing, who was about to leave. While moving, he used his powerful strength to eliminate all traces. The whole flying boat seemed to merge into the void and shuttled away. No one of these sects dares to offend Heavenly Jade Sacred Land. Alas, it seems that I can only rely on myself. Xinqing left the Qingkuan Grotto Heaven with sorrow. He soared into the air, penetrated the clouds, and flew into the distance. If I had known that Heavenly Jade Sacred Land was so domineering, I should have destroyed them in my previous life. Xinqing thought viciously in his heart. The Emperor is invincible in the world and can destroy any force with one hand. Even the Jidao Sacred Land is just a matter of turning his hand. But now, it's useless to say all this. Heavenly Jade Sacred Land can never go back. No Jidao force can go there either. Living under the divine weapon for a long time, the risk of exposure is too great, and it is estimated that no one in the 9 Transcendent Level sects of Daxu will take him in. It seems that I can only join some small sects first. I will find a way to obtain more training resources later. I remember that the nearest sect should be Huangfeng Valley, so let's go there. Xinqing determined the target, accelerated the speed, and planned to go to the nearest city and take the space portal. The area of Daxu is vast and boundless. If ordinary cultivators fly, they will not be able to reach the end in hundreds of years. For long-distance travel, except for apex-level masters who can directly transmigrate the void, the fastest and most common way is to take the space portal. As long as you teleport to the space portal near the Yellow Wind Valley, you can save a lot of time. My friend, please stay. An old man in a gray robe appeared on the road in front of Xinqing, standing there with a smile on his face. Who are you? Xinqing looked at the other party vigilantly, who was in the sky at the moment. There was no one around. If the other party had bad intentions, he would be in great danger. When he saw the 8 trigrams mark pattern on the chest of the gray-robed old man, he suddenly realized, "You are from Qingkuan Grotto Heaven?" "That's right." The gray-robed old man laughed, looked at Xinqing with satisfaction, and said, are you willing to join my Chinkuan Grotto Heaven? Xianqing was a little surprised and said, didn't you reject me? What's the point? Then he reacted and said, you are just pretending to be in front of Heavenly Jade Sacred Land? My friend is really smart. The gray-robed old man smiled and nodded, becoming more and more satisfied with Xianqing. Not only is he a top talent, but he is also very smart. Such talents are very rare nowadays. Therefore, Chinkuan Grotto Heaven is willing to take this big risk and want to accept Xianqing. How about it? Consider it. The gray-robed old man asked. He is confident that Xianqing will not reject him. Sure enough, in his expectant eyes, Xianqing nodded. Just as he was about to speak, a white figure suddenly fell from the sky. Chu Tian was really impressed. The Chinkuan Grotto Heaven sect actually acted like a showman. Originally, Xianqing had nowhere to go, so he could easily recruit him to the Holy Demon Mountain. Unexpectedly, a Cheng Yaojin showed up halfway. Who are you? The gray-robed old man stared at Chu Tian warily. This person landed from a high altitude. He actually hit it from his spiritual sense, and he didn't notice it until the figure appeared in his sight. Chu Tian didn't waste any words, pointing at Xianqing and said, this person? I want him. You can go. Chapter 37, Part 1. Xianqing looked at Chu Tian blankly, thinking, I don't seem to know this person, right? Senior, you? Xianqing spoke carefully. However, before he finished speaking, the gray-robed old man suddenly snorted. He immediately said, Xianqing has just nodded to join our Chinkuan Grotto Heaven. It's not appropriate for you to intervene at this time, right? If he hadn't been unable to see through Chu Tian's strength, he wouldn't bother to say so much. It's indeed not appropriate. Chu Tian nodded and then said, but, so what? You. The gray-robed old man's face sank. This guy is a bit ungrateful. Let's do this. For the sake of fairness, let Xianqing make his own decision. If he chooses Chinkuan Grotto Heaven, I will leave immediately and never regret it. Chu Tian's attitude was not very tough. Okay. The gray-robed old man's face eased. Since the other party was reasonable, things would be easy to handle. He turned to Xianqing and said, my friend, you just nodded. Do you agree to go back to Grotto Heaven with me? I can guarantee here that as long as you agree, after you enter, we will devote all our resources to train you well. After hearing this, Xianqing was shaken. What he lacks most now is training resources. With resources, he can grow up quickly. He can also find the ancient profound emperor's mausoleum more quickly. At this time, Chu Tian quietly sent a message to Xianqing, saying only 4 words. In an instant, Xianqing's eyes widened, and then he looked at Chu Tian fiercely. After a moment of silence, Xianqing looked at the gray-robed old man and said, I'm sorry, senior. I am willing to follow this senior and leave. I am deeply grateful for the sincere invitation of Grotto Heaven. Why? Didn't you just? The gray-robed old man didn't believe it and wanted to ask more questions. Chu Tian interrupted him and said, now that Xianqing has made his choice, stop talking nonsense and hurry back to the sect to report. You. The gray-robed old man's chest rose and fell, and he was so angry that he almost took action. Damn. The cooked duck just flew away. Who is this guy who suddenly appeared? What means did he use to make Xianqing choose him without hesitation? I'm so angry. The gray-robed old man threw his sleeves, rushed into the distance with an ugly face, and left angrily. If he stayed any longer, he was afraid that he would not be able to help but take action. At this time, Chu Tian raised the corners of his mouth and looked directly at the back of the gray-robed old man. His eyes turned golden, and there was a deep purple light flashing in his eyes. Ah! The gray-robed old man suddenly held his head and screamed, his face twisted and painful. He felt a powerful soul power rushing into his sea of consciousness. That soul power was forcibly modifying his memory. The gray-robed old man wanted to resist, but was surprised to find that with his Tianyin realm cultivation, he was helpless against this sudden soul power. In less than a cup of tea, the gray-robed old man stood there with a puzzled look on his face, whispering to himself, Xianqing actually ran away. This kid is too fast. He is indeed an apex-level genius. He has some tricks. Go back and report to the cave master. You can't blame me for not finding him, right? His figure gradually faded and disappeared on the spot. Chu Tian and Xianqing had already rushed into the higher clouds, entered a luxurious flying boat hidden there. Nice environment. Xianqing is indeed the reincarnation of Emperor Venerable and has seen big scenes. He gave this luxurious flying boat, which even the sacred Venerable remnant soul coveted, a good evaluation. Seeing the 2 people coming back, Lin Shun and the other 5 people hurried to greet them. None of the 5 had seen Xianqing before, and they were curious. Who was this person that Chu Tian could pick him up in person? But Xianqing didn't want to pay attention to them. He was still excited about the 4 words Chu Tian had just transmitted to him. Ancient Profound Emperor. This was Chu Tian's call to him, and his tone was very sure. It was as if he knew that the Ancient Profound Emperor was him, so he called him that. Xianqing didn't understand. He and Chu Tian had never met before. How did he know who he was? Could it be that this guy not only possessed the ancient divine weapon, but was also a great saint venerable level or other strong man? To see through his identity, at least he had to be a great saint level cultivator, or a saint venerable level strong man holding the ancient divine weapon. Others had to use spiritual sense to probe into his body at close range. Only a thorough and careful inspection can reveal it. But he observed Chu Tian and found that he was not holding the ancient divine weapon, and his cultivation was not like that of the great saint. What was the problem? Even if Xianqing was the human race emperor venerable in his previous life, he had a very high vision. It was impossible for him to think that there was a plug-in called the system that saw through him. Of course, Chu Tian would not admit it. Seeing Xianqing staring at him, he laughed and turned to Lin Shen and the others and said, "You go to practice first, and use the resources in the flying boat at will. I have something to talk to him about." Lin Shen and the others nodded and left tactfully. When they were far away, the remnant soul of Sacred Venerable grabbed Lin Shen. He secretly poked his head out, pricked up his ears, and wanted to eavesdrop. Lin Shen said helplessly, "Did you get bolder because you think the senior is a good person after getting along with him for a few months? It has been more than 3 months since the departure from Lantian town. During this period of time, Lin Shen and the others have some understanding of Chu Tian's personality. I found that he not only has a good personality, but is also very easy to get along with. He doesn't usually put on airs like a master, and always convinces people with virtue and is very reasonable. Therefore, the fear of Chu Tian's terrifying strength gradually dissipated, especially Sacred Venerable's remnant soul, who is getting bolder and bolder. Hee, it's nothing to listen." Sacred Venerable's remnant soul laughed obscenely. "If you dare to eavesdrop again, I'll slap you and you may die." How could the two of them hide from Chu Tian's perception? He turned his head and said lightly, "That's right. Lin Shen, how could you do this? I feel ashamed of your despicable behavior of eavesdropping, and the key is that you drag me along. It's really hateful." Sacred Venerable's remnant soul frowned and pointed at Lin Shen and blamed him. After that, the remnant soul floated away, leaving Lin Shen with a confused face. With his personality, he was almost angry enough to curse. "Senior, what do you mean by what you said just now?" Xianqing was still very calm. Although his memory was incomplete, he was a human race emperor venerable in his previous life, and he was very well-mannered. He was not sure whether Chu Tian had really discovered his identity, so he planned to test it. Hearing this, Chu Tian smiled slightly and said, "What you think in your heart is what I think. Do you understand what I mean?" Boom. Xianqing's heart was in turmoil. Was he really seen through? Chapter 38, Part 1. But why? He still had doubts in his heart, thinking that Chu Tian was fooling him. Chu Tian saw through his thoughts at a glance and said, "Don't be confused, and don't be lucky. I have my own way. Don't worry, I won't hurt you." Xianqing half believed and half doubted. Then what is the meaning of taking me on this flying boat? He didn't believe that Chu Tian would not be tempted by a body reshaped by a trace of emperor blood and a trace of emperor venerable soul. Emperor blood and emperor soul are what many people dream of. Even if it's just a little bit, if a quasi-emperor knows about it. Even if it crosses the galaxy and the universe, they have to come to grab it. That's why he resolutely left the heavenly jade sacred land with a profound heritage, according to the remaining memories of his previous life. The family background of these apex-level sacred lands is terrifying. It's definitely not as simple as it seems on the surface. Chu Tian didn't beat around the bush and said directly, "I see that you have an extraordinary background, so I have the idea of accepting a disciple. Want to accept me as your disciple?" Xianqing smiled. How many of the powerful people nowadays, even Sacred Venerable, can teach him? Although his memory is incomplete, but he still remembers the apex-level exercises that the ancient profound emperor studied in his previous life, as well as the body-refining association of Emperor Venerable at all levels. With these, why would he need a master? He joined Heavenly Jade Sacred Land and Chinkuan Grotto Heaven purely for resources. What he lacked was resources. Chu Tian saw Xianqing's indifference. Indeed, Emperor Venerable's vision would not look down on the powerful people of today. Even if it was quasi-emperor, even if Xianqing was not good enough, he was not worthy. But Chu Tian felt that he was qualified, and he immediately proved himself with his actions. He just waved his sleeves. In an instant, hundreds of thousands of high-quality spirit stones and various spirit medicines of at least Saint Venerable level appeared around them. After counting, there were hundreds of spirit medicines of at least Saint Venerable level. Suddenly, in the flying boat, which was already full of spirit chi, a cloud of Saint Chi condensed and lingered for a long time. The fragrance of spirit medicine attracted Lin Shan and his friends again. I'll go. I'll go. I'll go. The sacred venerable remnant soul shook Lin Chen's shoulders frantically, pointing at the treasures around Chu Tian. His saliva was almost flowing down. If he was given one of these, he would ascend to heaven on the spot. Can you calm down? Lin Shan rolled his eyes. Quasi-Emperor level medicine, True Dragon Spirit medicine, other Saint Venerable level, even Saint King level, Great Saint Venerable level medicines, did not make Xianqing react much. Only seeing a golden spirit medicine that looked like a dragon, he showed surprise on his face. Don't look at me. I'm a legend you'll never get. Quasi-Emperor level True Dragon Spirit medicine has long been intelligent. I saw its eyes slowly open on the leaf stem. He glanced at Xianqing with disdain. Where did this bumpkin come from? Haven't seen someone as handsome as me? It can talk? Xianqing is not surprised. Many Saint Venerable level spirit medicine have intelligence, can run away with their feet off the ground, and avoid the collection of monks. It's normal for Quasi-Emperor level spirit medicine to talk. Looking at Chu Tian again, this man is becoming more and more mysterious in his eyes. With a wave of his hand, he took out hundreds of at least Saint Venerable level spirit medicine. Among them, there is a true dragon spirit medicine that has been cultivated for 500,000 years and can become an Emperor Venerable level spirit medicine. Who is this guy? An ancestor of an apex level sacred land? Possibly. The more Xianqing thought about it, the more he felt it was possible, and this was the only explanation. Otherwise, why would he be so generous? Even Xianqing felt that the ancestors of the apex level sacred land were not so wealthy. Most of the great medicines like holy medicine were planted and protected in the sacred land medicine garden. How could they be kept so casually in grotto heaven? Chu Tian waved his sleeves again, and the spirit stone and spirit medicine were all put into grotto heaven. This time, several Emperor Venerable scriptures appeared, although there was only one ancient divine weapon in these years. But there were so many Emperor Dao scriptures that he couldn't hold them all with both hands. The exercises he practiced were all selected from them. Too many Emperor Venerable scriptures are also a kind of trouble. I wonder if anyone understands his feelings? Master, please accept Xuanqing's worship. Bang! Xianqing knelt down on the ground without saying a word and performed the apprenticeship ceremony. He looked serious and didn't even look at those Emperor Venerable scriptures. Emperor Venerable scriptures, resources, are not important. He just wants to become a disciple. Haha, good disciple. Get up quickly. Chu Tian put away the treasure and smiled happily. Xianqing is a top talent, and in his previous life he was a human race Emperor Venerable. With a little training, he will undoubtedly be an apex-level foundation for the Holy Demon Mountain in the future. He can be buried in the deepest part of the ancestral mausoleum. Chu Tian took out the Emperor Dao sword art, Tai Ching Xin sword art, and handed it to Xianqing, saying, Master doesn't have any good things, so I will give you this ordinary skill as a gift for becoming a disciple. Don't despise it. Xianqing took the Tai Ching Xian sword art and said seriously, Master, the gift is light, but the sentiment is heavy. I still understand this truth. Thank you for the sword art. Good, good, good. Chu Tian said 3 good words in a row and was very satisfied with Xianqing. Originally, he thought that Xianqing was an Emperor Venerable in his previous life, and he would be a little old-fashioned in this life. After all, he was once high and mighty and was not used to being on an equal footing with others. Now it seems that he was worrying too much. Xianqing is quite smooth, not a bit rigid and artificial. He did not put himself in the position of Emperor Venerable. He knew that time had changed, and he was no longer the human race Emperor Venerable. Ding! The second disciple, Xianqing, was successfully accepted as a disciple, and the rewards are now calculated. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the ancient profound Emperor Sutra. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a pool of fairy river water. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining a ton of eternal fairy gold. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining the special physique innate Dao fetus. Damn! Chu Tian was stunned. What kind of fairy reward is this? It's so arrogant. Compared with the reward for the first time he accepted Shi Hao, the reward for accepting Xianqing this time is too good. He doesn't know what the fairy river water is. But this eternal fairy gold is the artifact refining holy object that Emperor Venerable dreams of. When Emperor Venerable is refining divine weapon, just adding a little bit of eternal immortal gold or equivalent immortal gold can greatly enhance the strength of divine weapon. There is a fundamental difference between the ancient divine weapon with special immortal gold and the divine weapon without immortal gold. If they fight, the latter will suffer a great loss. And this time, the reward for accepting a disciple was actually 1 ton. How many apex-level law treasures can I refine with this? Especially my own law treasure. Chapter 39, Part 1. Once a cultivator enters the Xuanfu realm, a grotto heaven will be opened. Then he can cultivate a purple qi sea, which is called the purple qi Dao Sea. This thing can not only be used as a universal storage bag. More importantly, you can breed your lifeblood in it, the life law weapon. Every cultivator has such a treasure, and Chu Tian is no exception. His is a 9-story pagoda. However, because he has a ridiculously high vision, the pagoda has only taken shape so far, and it has not even been named. He has been waiting for powerful artifact refining materials so that the life law weapon will be extremely powerful when it is formed. Now, the appearance of eternal, immortal gold has solved his urgent needs. Moreover, Xuanqing's ancient Qian indestructible body seems to be able to breed ancient Qian mother Qi. This is the spirit Qi when the world was first created, and it is a treasure of the same level as the purple Qi from the east. If it is added, his life law weapon will definitely be a step up. In the future, when he becomes Emperor Venerable, he will be able to compete with an Emperor Venerable level character just by relying on this life law weapon. Of course, these are all later stories. Innate Dao Fetus. Chu Tian remembered that this was a special physique that was born with the Great Dao. Whatever he thought and did, he was close to the Great Dao, which made it easier to comprehend and practice very quickly. I remember that the combination of the reincarnation sacred body and the innate Dao fetus can produce the innate sacred body Dao fetus, which is the real hidden Dao body. I heard that the innate sacred body Dao fetus is known as the first physique, born with the Saint Venerable level, and is almost destined to become an Emperor Venerable. Chu Tian was thinking about finding a wife for sure how in the future, preferably one with the innate Dao fetus. Give birth to an Emperor Venerable level genius and strengthen the Great Saint Demon Mountain. System, what is the immortal river water? Could it really be the water in the immortal river in the immortal world? That's right, the immortal river was just a stream in the immortal world billions of years ago, and it was the water of the mortal world. Later, after millions of years of evolution, it became spiritual and became a fairy river. If the host wants to know the effect, just take a bath and you will know. Just take a bath and you will know? Chu Tian was full of questions, and then he reacted, take a bath? So that's it. I have to try it when I return to Zizai Palace. I hope this fairy river water will not disappoint him. Then, innate Dao fetus merged with his physique, and a little man sitting cross-legged appeared in Violet Palace. A closer look revealed that this little man was a mini version of Chu Tian. This is Dao fetus, who was born with the Dao, and was constantly comprehending and practicing, and could also feed back his experience to Chu Tian. System, from now on, the good things like fairy gold will be directly transferred to Grotto Heaven. Don't make it public. I've told you so many times, you just don't know what it means to be low-key. You're better at pretending than me. Are you addicted? Indeed, a little addicted. If the system had a physical body, Chu Tian would definitely slap it in the face. This guy doesn't understand the principle of keeping a low profile at all. Chu Tian despises the system very much. He has long seen through the system's little tricks. Every time there is something good, he has to make a big fuss. There are 99 layers of peak protection formations in Zizai Palace, but they can't stop him from showing off. It's really too dazzling. Lin Xin and his companions came over when they saw Chu Tian and Xian Qing finish their conversation. Just now, they watched Chu Tian's generosity from afar. Not only Xian Qing was conquered, but they were also conquered. Lin Xin looked at Xian Qing with envy. This guy could actually become a disciple of the senior. Could it be that talent is better than him? He was a little frustrated. If he asked, would the senior really agree? Su Xiaoro held his hand tightly and smiled slightly. The most important thing for a person is to have confidence, no matter whether he can worship under the senior. I believe that you will be able to shine in the holy demon mountain. Thank you. Lin Chun regained his confidence. Yes, he needed confidence. Even if Chu Tian was unwilling to accept him as a disciple, he could not lose heart. After all, he would also become a true disciple of the holy demon mountain. The gap would not be too big. Chu Tian glanced at everyone and smiled. It's been a few months since I came out. It's time to return to the sect. Hearing this, several people smiled. Finally going back. Heavenly Jade Sacred Land. It was late at night, and the moon was high in the sky. Two old men in gold and silver robes stood on the top of a building with their hands behind their backs, looking up at the moon. The old man in the gold robe said, Daxu is going to change, and the destruction of Xinyu sect is just the beginning. The old man in the silver robe nodded. Yes, the ancient race seems to have awakened, and a few days ago, some disciples discovered their traces. Now, it's time for those hidden families and sects to show up. The current 9 Transcendent Level sects are not worthy of their names. Their strength is no longer worthy of the name of the 9 Transcendent Level sections. After all, a great era is slowly coming. Yes, the ancient profound emperor has been in ascension for 30,000 years. The entire starry sky has been lonely for 30,000 years. Without the strength of sacred venerable, it is too dangerous to transmigrate the starry sky. The old man in the gold robe sighed. Time passed too quickly. This has also led to the loosening of the connection between the Yinhuang realm and other large planets in the past 10,000 years. Contact the ancient star sect, start the immortal list plan, and deter those ancient strongmen who are about to awaken. I believe that the other 4 domains will also take action against the ancient races that are about to awaken. Tomorrow, I will go there in person and ask them if they have any shame. Humph. As a sacred land, no means can fail to find some clues. The destruction of the Xinyu sect has the shadow of the ancient star sect. They found that before the destruction of the Xinyu sect, it had a close connection with the ancient star sect. Some strong men from the Xinyu sect introduced strong men from the ancient star sect into the sect. On the same day, the Xinyu sect was destroyed. If you say that this matter has nothing to do with them, no one will believe it. That's right. The old man in the golden robe suddenly said, the Saint-grade talent disciple who left went to the grotto heaven to participate in the disciple recruiting ceremony, but was rejected. The old man in the silver robe snorted coldly and said, if you leave Sacred Land without permission, Sacred Land will not stop you, but you will definitely make him pay the price. In this Daxu, or even the entire Beidou, which force dares not to give face to our Tianxian? The golden robe shook his head and smiled. His life is ruined. Joining a small sect will only bury him completely. Even if you have Saint-grade talent, don't think about cultivating to a high level. Although the two felt sorry for Xinqing who left the sect, they were more angry. Heavenly Jade Sacred Land cultivated him vigorously, but he chose to leave just because he didn't become a saint child. It's simply lawless. Xinqing didn't become a saint child because he didn't have enough ability. After all, this generation of saint children has extremely high talent, which he can't compare with. Chapter 40, Part 1. The head of the Samsara Palace has changed his temperament recently. He locked himself in the cave and never went out. Even if he occasionally showed up, he always had a long face, as if everyone owed him a few $100s. In the blink of an eye, 2 months have passed since he last went out. On Samsara Peak, he studied the mysteries and played with cause and effect. All the disciples on the peak knew a little about the mysteries. Almost everyone held a whisk in their hands and wore a Taoist robe. When he walked, he shook his head and swayed, like a god on earth. Oh my god. Master, what happened to him? A young man looked at the closed cave door and asked in confusion with a frown. Since returning from the secret territory of the Blood Corpse demon race more than 3 months ago, he has become a completely different person. He used to be a lively and rogue Taoist priest who always liked to make fun of his junior brothers and sisters. Now, not only does he not go out, but even if he goes out after many days, he frowns. He ignores the beautiful female disciples he likes talking to him. Are you sick? This young man is the eldest disciple of the master of the Samsara Palace, named Li Duxiu. Now he is a master of the Xuanfu realm on the surface, and the great master of everyone in the Samsara Peak. Now the master stays at home, and the senior masters of the Samsara Peak are concentrating on cultivation. Now everything in the sect is pushed to him to deal with. It makes him so confused. Li Duxiu also wants to practice. Otherwise, he will be overtaken by his junior brothers and sisters, which will be so embarrassing. At least he has to pretend to make a breakthrough on the surface. But there is no time for that now. Brother. A girl in a Taoist robe came over. She was pretty and lovely. She held a Buddhist rosary in her hand and asked with a smile, Master still refuses to come out? She was the second disciple of the Lord of Samsara Palace, Zhou-yang Luoqing. Li Duxiu shook his head and sighed. Suddenly he looked at Zhou-yang Luoqing and said, Have you broken through to the master of Xuanfu realm? I just broke through yesterday. I consolidated it and wanted to come to see master today. Zhou-yang Luoqing smiled gently. She was petite and her smile was particularly healing. It seems that you, my junior sister, have caught up with me. I have to work harder, my senior brother. Li Duxiu smiled bitterly. Zhou-yang Luoqing was a few years younger than him, but her realm had already caught up with him. It's okay. It's just on the surface, right? Junior sister doesn't know how much strength my senior brother has hidden. Anyway, my junior sister herself has not hidden anything at all. Zhou-yang Luoqing said, her tone was sincere, and with that small and delicate face, it was easy for people to believe her. But Li Duxiu is the great master of Samsara Peak. How smart. How could he be deceived after receiving the true teachings of the Lord of the Samsara Palace? Zhou-yang Luoqing's words went in one ear and out the other. On the holy demon mountain, anyone who said that they didn't hide their strength was lying. They lied with their eyes open. But even so, no one cares. Anyway, if you don't admit it, you can't do anything to me. I see that master is frowning and worried. If this continues, I'm afraid he will have a demon in his heart and something bad will happen. Li Duxiu said worriedly. Zhou-yang Luoqing said, I have inquired in other peaks. Master's behavior may be related to several palace masters, especially the Dumo palace master. What do you mean? Li Duxiu himself did not have time to check. Now all the chores of the Samsara Peak are on him, and he has no time at all. Master and the Grand Palace Master, several Palace Master uncles, and True Spirit Uncle went to fight the Blood Corpse demon race together. Everyone showed their skills and revealed a little bit of their hidden strength. Master doesn't seem to have beaten several Palace Master uncles, so? Li Duxiu understood. Are you angry? Zhou Yangluoking nodded and said, now we can only wait for Master's realm to catch up with several uncles before we can get out of the cave. Otherwise, I'm afraid we won't see him recently. Li Duxiu turned his head and looked at the palace in the distance, helplessly saying, it seems that Master seems to be the most scheming on the surface, but in fact he is the simplest. Yes. Zhou Yangluoking nodded with emotion. Those Palace Master uncles were too hardworking. They hit Master like this. Especially Uncle Dumo. I heard that he was scolded by the Master for a long time, saying that he was a stuffy man. Humph. Suddenly, the cave door opened, and the Lord of the Samsara Palace came out with a stern face, looked at the two, and scolded. Is your master the kind of narrow-minded person? Don't listen to other people's nonsense. Because you can't beat the other Palace Masters, you are angry. It's completely nonsense and unfounded. Don't mention it next time. Li Duxiu and Zhou Yangluoqing's face straightened, nodded and said, I understand, Master. Others are talking nonsense. Master is just in a bad mood and is in seclusion. Yes. The Lord of the Samsara Palace nodded, expressionless, but secretly cursing in his heart. Damn God, you guys just wait for me. If I don't roll you to death, I will write the 3 words Hong Chiqian upside down. Master, remember what you said? Don't let your imagination run wild. Practice hard. Remember, you must practice hard. Don't be outdone by the disciples of other peaks. Master will go to Zizai Palace and will be back soon. The Lord of Samsara Palace waved his sleeves, and a cloud appeared under his feet. It took him up into the air and flew towards Zizai Palace. Master is still so face-conscious. Zhou Yangluoqing chuckled, looked at Li Duxiu, and shook his head helplessly. Their master is the hardest-mouthed one. Li Duxiu looked in the direction of Zizai Palace and said, Master, I'm afraid you will be disappointed again when you go to Zizai Palace, Lord, this time. The Lord of Samsara Palace has rarely gone out in recent months, but every time he goes out, he almost goes to Zizai Palace. But Zizai Palace Lord has been out for more than 3 months and has not returned to the sect yet. Zizai Palace has a profound heritage and has left many good things. Master should want to get some things. Zhou Yangluoqing said. Zizai Palace is the first palace of the Holy Demon Palace. Every generation of Chu family ancestors is a top genius, but they are very strange and never accept disciples. And they themselves, I don't know what evil has befallen them. Most of them only lived for a few hundred years and died early in their prime. I don't know how many sect disciples regret it. If the ancestors of the Chu family can live longer, the current strength of the Holy Demon Mountain may be comparable to that of ordinary Sacred Land level forces. Chapter 41, Part 1. Uncle Luo, Master really hasn't come back yet. It's useless to force me. Under Zizai Palace, the Lord of Samsara Palace stood there. In front of him, Shihao explained with tears in his eyes. This Uncle Luo came several times, all for Master. But Master has been away for more than 3 months and has not returned yet, and each time he returned empty-handed. He came again today, and no matter how he explained, Uncle Luo just didn't believe it and insisted on entering Zizai Palace to take a look. I won't make things difficult for you. Whether your master is here or not, I will know once I go in. The Lord of Samsara Palace was a little anxious and couldn't wait. God knows whether those old guys have made any progress in the past 3 months. Anyway, he himself has not. So he couldn't wait to see Chu Tian, and wanted to get some good things from this nephew, so that his cultivation could be further improved. Shihao said helplessly, My master said that without his permission, no one else can enter the mountain. Master Uncle, if you insist on going in, I'm afraid you won't be able to reach the top of the mountain. The Lord of the Samsara Palace glanced over the Zizai Palace. He knew that there were many special formations hidden here. He was also in awe of these formations that were apparently left by the ancestors of the Chu family. Ordinary people can only reach the halfway point of the Zizai Palace. Without Chu Tian's permission, they can't step into the heights of the Zizai Palace. Moreover, Chu Tian clearly told these high-level people not to break in casually. If he is not there, the consequences are unpredictable. The Lord of the Samsara Palace took a breath and smelled the spirit chi of the Zizai Palace, which was several times richer than other mountains, and felt itchy in his heart. He came up with a plan and said, Shihao, Master Uncle wants to discuss important matters with your master. Although he hasn't returned for many days, he has been gone for more than 3 months now and will probably be back soon. Master Uncle, just find a place to stay in Zizai Palace and wait for him slowly. What Master Uncle wants to talk about is very important and must see him as soon as possible. Shihao was stunned. What's the difference between this and waiting in the Samsara Peak? Why must he wait in Zizai Palace? Before he asked, the master of Samsara Palace smiled kindly and put his arm around Sure Hao's shoulders, pushing him to the top of the Zizai Palace. Master Uncle, this? Sure Hao was not good at speaking, and he couldn't resist the master of Samsara Palace. In this way, he was taken all the way to the top of the mountain. Before Chu Tian left, he taught him all the control methods of the Zizai Palace formation. Now, with the golden ring given by Chu Tian, Sure Hao can control multiple formations in Zizai Palace. In Zizai Palace, even if the Grand Master Duanmu Yin came, he might not be Sure Hao's opponent. As the two of them walked up the mountain, they often saw some disciples practicing in remote places on the hillside of the Zizai Palace, which seemed to have no formation on the surface. These people were naturally not disciples of the Zizai Palace, but disciples from the other 6 peaks. Zizai Palace had abundant spirit qi, and the air was filled with the fragrance of medicine, making it an excellent place for cultivation. It was easier to break through the bottleneck by practicing here. Even the fragrance of medicine floating in the air could make people feel happy just by smelling it, as if their lifespan had been extended a little. It might be an illusion, but many disciples were unwilling to miss such a treasure. Some diligent disciples even built a cultivation cave mansion on the hillside of the Zizai Palace and lived here for a long time to practice. Not surprisingly, those who did so had already far surpassed other disciples of the same age in secret. It is worth mentioning that Zhou Yangluoking, the second disciple of the Lord of the Samsara Palace, also had a cultivation cave mansion here. The Lord of the Samsara Palace and his great master brother Li Duxiu did not know about this. It is worthy of being the Zizai Palace. Even the fragrance in the air is so charming. The Lord of the Samsara Palace smiled and felt happy. If I can train here for 7 or 8 years, even the sultry Dumo junior brother can't be more aggressive than me. I must have a good discussion with junior brother Chu Tian when he comes back. Suddenly, the Lord of Samsara saw a disciple from Samsara Peak digging a cave mansion. The disciple worked very hard, holding a law weapon shovel, moving quickly, looking excited, and laughing from time to time. Ha ha ha. From today on, this is my home, Wang Shower. Living here, who would want to go back to Samsara Peak? The Lord of Samsara glanced at him, said nothing, but the smile on his face became even brighter. Not bad, not bad. You have learned my true teachings. You are so good at rolling. You look like a disciple of our Samsara Peak. The Lord of Samsara decided to give some pointers to other disciples of Wangyiweiji Peak in the future. Let them all open cave mansions in Zai Palace and practice here for a long time. Within 10 years, the disciples of the other 5 palaces will be left far behind. This is a great idea. Ha ha ha. The Lord of Samsara couldn't help laughing, and Sure Hao shuddered. This great grandmaster seems to have some problems with his brain. Is it really okay to take him back to Zizai Palace? Sure Hao doubted whether he had let a wolf into the house. 2 months later, at the gate of the Holy Demon Mountain, Deacon Shan was on duty as usual, but he was a little irritable today. Because 3 days ago, another elder who was 20 years younger than him told him that he had successfully broken through to the 4th layer of the infant transformation realm. He reached the middle stage of the infant transformation realm. This was very embarrassing for Deacon Shan, who was an elder but only in the early stage of the infant transformation realm on the surface. But he had no choice. Who told him to be too talkative and spread the embarrassing things of the Lord of the Samsara Palace everywhere. As a result, he was punished to guard the gate for a year, and only half a year has passed. In the past 6 months, he had no time to practice at all. Not only did his surface realm not improve, but even his hidden realm progressed very slowly. Hey, bear with it for a while, it will be over soon. Deacon Shun sat and looked up. Huh. It's the Lord of Zizai Palace who is back. In the distance, the space cracked in the sky, and Chu Tian appeared with 5 people. Soon, everyone arrived at the main gate of the sect. Master Zizai, long time no see. Steward Shun said with a smile. It's been a long time indeed. Chu Tian nodded slightly, and after a few simple greetings with Steward Shin, he led a few people into the main gate. Is this the Immortal Gate sect? Tong Yi and Tong Air had just started practicing, and were shocked by the fairyland of the Holy Demon Mountain. A group of cranes flew by in the distance, which made the two of them even more amazed. Even family young masters like Lin Shun and Su Xiaoro had never seen such a scene. For a moment, several people were attracted by this fairyland. Only Xin Qing was calm enough. The spectacular scene of the Holy Demon Mountain was not strange to him. After all, what kind of scene had he not seen in his previous
life?
Chapter 42, Part 1. Even Supreme has been killed. Lin Xin, Su Xiaoro, Tong Yi, Tong Air. I will take you to see the Grand Palace Master first. Chu Tian waved his sleeves, and a sword appeared out of thin air, then quickly enlarged and hung in the air. Come up, the Holy Demon Mountain is very big. It will take some time to walk. Flying with a sword. Lin Shun and others' eyes flashed with eagerness, which was much more handsome than flying directly. They thought more than once that when they broke through to the Juden realm and could fly, they must use swords as a means of transportation, because it would be cooler. With 5 people, Chu Tian stood at the front of the giant sword and pointed his finger. The giant sword immediately took off into the air, drew a beautiful arc, and flew towards the Holy Demon Palace. As the main peak of the Holy Demon Mountain, the Holy Demon Palace is the highest and largest of the 7 peaks. The ancestral land of the sect is deep behind the Holy Demon Palace. The ancestral tomb is deeper in the ancestral land, where there is a special hidden formation. Even if ordinary people stand at the entrance of the ancestral tomb, they cannot see the existence of the ancestral tomb. This is the biggest secret of the Holy Demon Mountain. Only the Grand Palace Masters of all generations are qualified to enter the ancestral mausoleum. At this time, the Grand Palace Master had just finished dealing with the sect affairs at hand. He was sitting in the main hall of the Holy Demon Palace and leisurely sipping tea. Grand Palace Master, I haven't seen you for half a year. You have become more powerful. Chu Tian led the 5 people to the main hall and said with a smile. The information of the Grand Palace Master was clear at a glance. Name, Holy Demon Hub, Grand Palace Master age, 509 years old realm, 4th layer heaven of the Dao realm identity. Grand Palace Master of the Holy Demon Mountain, low-grade Talisman Master of Dao, Supreme Grade Poison Master of Heavenly Grade Cultivation Talent, low grade of Dao skills. Holy Demon Art, no grade. Void Turtle Breath Art, no grade. Divine Ability, Master of the Universe. Great Desolate Steel Hand Law Weapon. Holy Yuan Seal, Prisoner Heaven Whisk Luck. Purple wow. This woman has broken through again. Chu Tian was amazed. Grand Palace Master Duanmu Yin is apparently in the 9th layer of Tianyin realm. Before Chu Tian left, her real realm was the 3rd layer of Wundao realm. Now, she has actually broken through to the middle stage of Wundao realm. It seems that the sect will soon change the Grand Palace Master. Grand Palace Master, it's time to go to the ancestral land to take charge. So it's you. Why, you've been out for almost half a year, and you've heard about the matter of accepting disciples? The Grand Palace Master held the teacup, sniffed the tea lightly, glanced at Chu Tian, and smiled leisurely. Chu Tian sat down next to the Grand Palace Master and said, Grand Palace Master, what do you think of these children? He pointed at Lin Shen and the other 5. Oh. The Grand Palace Master looked at Lin Shen and the others curiously, with a sharp eye, and saw at a glance that these children seemed to have extraordinary talents. But what kind of talents they are, they still have to be personally inspected. He asked, Are these 5 your new disciples? Chu Tian laughed. Master, you know me well, I don't like to go out, and I don't want to be involved in too many karmas, so why would I accept so many disciples? This one is my 2nd disciple, Xianqing. Chu Tian pointed at Xianqing. Xianqing immediately bowed and saluted. Meetings, Grandmaster. Yes. The Grandmaster smiled and nodded, saying, Can you tell me what level of talent you have? Xianqing said calmly, My disciple is not very talented and can barely be considered a saint-grade low-grade talent. Yes, it's really not outstanding. Yes? The Grandmaster put down the teacup, stood up and looked at Xianqing in surprise and asked, What talent did you say you were just now? My disciple is a saint-grade low-grade talent. The Grandmaster widened his eyes, walked over with a happy face, patted Xianqing on the shoulder, and laughed. Good, good. Our Saint Demon Mountain has a promising future. First it was Sure How, and now you. Our Saint Demon Mountain already has 2 saint-grade talent disciples. The Grandmaster looked at Chu Tian and said, You kid. How can you be so lucky to have 2 disciples, both of whom are saint-grade talent? Pure coincidence. Chu Tian smiled slightly. The Grand Palace Master shook his head and smiled bitterly, then looked at Lin Shen and the other 4 and asked, What about them? Chu Tian said, I selected these 4 disciples for the sect, thinking that you would like them, uncle. You are still thoughtful. Your fellow disciples are full of cultivation. They have been away for several years and have not brought back anything. The Grand Palace Master laughed and scolded, and then asked, What about their talents? I know you have high standards, and those who can catch your eye must be at least heavenly grade talent, right? Chu Tian raised the corner of his mouth and said, Except for the little girl who is a heavenly grade talent, the other 3 are Dao grade talent. The Grand Palace Master listened and looked at Chu Tian. Seeing that he didn't seem to be joking, he turned around and looked at Lin Shen and the other 4 carefully. Are you cheating? The Grand Palace Master circled the 5 people, including Xianqing, 3 circles to the left and 3 circles to the right, staring at them as if they were looking at rare treasures. Even Xianqing began to feel a chill on his back. Why do I feel that this Grand Palace Master is far from being as simple as he looks? Can I check it? The Grand Palace Master said to Lin Shen, Su Xiaoro, and the 2 brothers of the Tong family. He was a little unconvinced. Heavenly grade talent was fine, but Dao grade talent was hard to find. Chu Tian actually brought 3 at a time, and the disciples he accepted were saint grade talent. Was he going out to recruit disciples, or to purchase goods? The 4 of them nodded and said, Uncle Master, Grand Palace Master, please. The Grand Palace Master stretched out his hand, and the powerful spiritual sense covered the four people. So powerful. Lin Shun and the others widened their eyes and looked shocked. Under the cover of the Grand Palace Master's spiritual sense, they felt like a small boat in the sea, which could capsize at any time. Soon, the Grand Palace Master withdrew his hand, his eyes full of shock. Su Xiaorou's heavenly grade talent has reached the level of a true disciple, and the other three are even more amazing. Lin Shun, Dao grade apex level cultivation talent. Tong Yi, Dao grade medium cultivation talent. Tong Air, Dao grade medium cultivation talent. Moreover, his spiritual sense has already sensed that there are particularly profound fluctuations of the Tao in the three people's dantian. That is the sign of the origin of the physique. In other words, the three people in front of him are not only talented, but also have special physiques. Did this guy go out to buy goods? Is it really so easy to find a genius? Chapter 43, Part 1. Chu Tian smiled and said, "You believe it now, right? You know I never brag." The Grand Palace Master smiled and said, Okay. Our holy demon mountain has a promising future. Master and junior brother Qinggang will be very happy when they know about this. Maybe they will make an exception and accept the three of them as disciples." The Grand Palace Master picked up the teacup again, looked at Chu Tian and said, "You really put your heart into it this time. The four of them, plus your two disciples, will make Holy Demon Mountain even stronger in the future." Chu Tian nodded. "I know, this is just on the surface. Ha ha ha. You still understand me. A big tree attracts the wind. Our Holy Demon Mountain just needs to have some say in Daxu. There is no need to compete for everything." The Grand Palace Master laughed heartily, and it can be seen that he is really happy. How can he not be happy to gain four geniuses at the level of true disciples at one time? Moreover, the Grand Palace Master took a sip of tea, glanced at Lin Shun along the edge of the cup, smiled slightly, and said, "What's your name?" Lin Shun quickly replied, "My name is Lin Shun, Lin for forest, Chun for morning." "Not bad, a good name." The Grand Palace Master said, "Your talent is enough to be the saint child of the Holy Demon Mountain, but there will be major changes in Daxu, so my requirements have also been raised. To become the saint child of the Holy Demon Mountain, talent must reach saint grade low-grade talent. You are still a little short." Lin Chin's eyes dimmed, although he was very disappointed, but it was decided by Innate, and he could do nothing about it. "But," the Grand Palace Master changed the subject, "if you perform well in the future, I have a way to help you complete your origin. At least it will be stronger than now, and then your talent may break through to saint grade." Lin Chin immediately saluted and said excitedly, "Disciple will definitely go all out to serve the sect." The Grand Palace Master nodded. "I tell you this just to give you some motivation. Come to the Holy Demon Mountain, and I will never let you down." Chu Tian was surprised by the Grand Palace Master's words. "It seems that even if I become the Palace Master, I still know too little about the Holy Demon Mountain." He didn't know that the Holy Demon Mountain actually had a way to complete the entire physical origin. He himself was helpless about this. Or rather, it was difficult to do. The incomplete origin is innate, and the Tao is incomplete, and the physical secrets cannot be opened. The true power of the physical body naturally cannot be exerted. Each special physical body has its own secrets. Once opened, you can obtain a strong Great Tao method that matches the physical body. So, if Lin Shun can complete the origin, his future achievements will be limitless. Maybe he will be able to rest in peace in the depths of the ancestral mausoleum in the future. The Grand Palace Master smiled mysteriously. "If you are willing to become the Grand Palace Master, you will know all the secrets of the Holy Demon Mountain." Chu Tian is very talented. He broke through to the Tianyan realm at a young age, and his mind is also very flexible. If he is allowed to be the Grand Palace Master of the Holy Demon Mountain, the Grand Palace Master will be very relieved. The Grand Palace Master also mentioned this matter to Chu Tian's father, Chu Yuan, the former Palace Master of the Zizai Palace. At that time, Chu Tian was only 20 years old, and the Grand Palace Master intended to train him as the future successor. But Chu Yuan refused without hesitation. Chu Tian shook his head and laughed. "I don't want to be one. It doesn't matter whether I know the secrets of the sect or not. It's enough to know it in my heart and be down to earth." Chu Tian chatted with the Grand Palace Master for a while, then said goodbye and left, returning to the Zizai Palace with Xianqing. The Grand Palace Master was responsible for arranging the four of Lin Shan. With their talents, their status in the Holy Demon Mountain must not be low. Becoming a true disciple is the most basic treatment, and Lin Shan, perhaps, can go even further. Chu Tian and Xianqing stepped on the giant sword, rushed straight into the sky, penetrated the clouds, and flew towards Zizai Palace. When approaching Zizai Palace, Chu Tian looked up, raised his eyebrows, and his face became a little strange. "Wow! Our Zizai Palace is considered to have branched out. I am really relieved to have these inner disciples." although Zizai Palace never actively recruits disciples. But the number of disciples practicing in Zizai Palace is no less than that of the other 6 peaks. Indistinctly, it seems that the more powerful the disciples are, the more they like to come from Zizai Palace to get a taste of the rich heaven and earth spirit chi here. Although the natural materials and treasures planted by Chu Tian, especially the transformation of the innate peach tree, the spirit chi concentration within hundreds of thousands of miles of the entire holy demon mountain is no longer what it used to be. The mountain is several times denser than before. But Zizai Palace is the source, and the spirit chi is so dense that it can almost condense into spiritual water. 1 day of cultivation here is equivalent to 5 days of cultivation in other places, or even longer. Chu Tian did not drive away such a beautiful place, so more and more disciples from the 6 peaks came here. They set up tents and built cave mansions for cultivation. Even the direct disciples of several palace masters and grand palace masters have special cave mansions for cultivation here. Every night when it was quiet, they would come here quietly to cultivate. They chose to come at night, not for anything else, but to secretly compete with other fellow disciples, especially other direct disciples. In case one day they brag too much and fight, they will have some confidence, right? Luoqing, this girl, came so early today? Chu Tian looked down from a high place and saw Zhou-Yang Luoqing walking lightly, walking in the corner, slowly approaching her cave mansion for cultivation in Zizai Palace. She was very careful, for fear of being seen by other direct disciples. This second disciple of Uncle Luo was cute on the surface, with a petite and charming figure. With delicate features and wearing a Taoist robe, she looked like a porcelain doll. But if you are deceived by her appearance, you will suffer a great loss. She is the king of the Samsara Palace. I am afraid that her realm in secret has surpassed that of great master brother Li Duxiu. Zhou-Yang Luoqing bypassed the crowd and quietly entered a hidden cave mansion, and then closed the stone door. Chu Tian shook his head and smiled, no longer paying attention to this side, and took Xianqing to the top of the Zizai Palace. Huh? Is this the breath of Uncle Luo? Is he here? Chu Tian passed through the formation and landed behind the Zizai Palace. He immediately felt a strange breath that did not belong to the Zizai Palace. After careful identification, isn't this the breath of the master of the Samsara Palace? Why is this guy here? Chu Tian looked at a newly built cave mansion in the distance. Has this guy already moved in? Chapter 44, Part 1. Chu Tian entered Zizai Palace quietly without disturbing anyone. At this time, Shihao was practicing, and he was practicing boxing by the Spirit Lake. Reincarnation's sacred body, unparalleled physique, the most powerful weapon is his fist. So after Chu Tian gave the Taiqing Xinjianju, before leaving the sect, he also deliberately left the Sun Fist Sutra. This is also a venerable level boxing, created by an ancient emperor. It is said that the ancient emperor, from the beginning of his practice, his fist was his magic weapon. Legend has it that after this emperor became a Taoist, a Dao Sacred Land offended him. He also provoked him, and even took out the divine weapon to fight him. As a result, the emperor said nothing and punched down, directly cracking the ancient divine weapon. The entire Dao Sacred Land was destroyed by this punch. At that time, the emperor was using the Sun Fist Sutra. Shihao's golden blood was boiling, his body was dancing, he waved his fists, and a huge sun image rose behind him. That was the image displayed by activating the Sun Fist Sutra. As the sun image rose, Shihao's power became even more terrifying. The sense of oppression was so strong that even the space was trembling. Between the opening and closing, a golden dragon of blood rose into the sky, then jumped down, and surrounded the sun behind Shihao. Shihao's Sun Fist Sutra has actually been introduced and mastered the essence. He is worthy of being a samsara sacred body. Chu Tian stood behind Shihao and nodded with satisfaction. He is worthy of being a saint rank apex level talent, with extraordinary comprehension. He can also comprehend and reach a certain realm of the Emperor Venerable level boxing so quickly. Now Shihao has mastered the 3 Emperor Venerable level techniques of the Samsara Emperor Sutra, the Taiqing Xian Sword Art, and the Sun Fist Sutra. It will be difficult to find an opponent in the same level. Even if Chu Tian and Shihao fight at the same level, his chances of winning will not exceed 90%. Name, Shihao. Age, 20 years old. Realm, first layer of Juden realm, apparent, / third layer of Juden realm, actual, identity. Chief disciple of Zizai Palace cultivation talent, saint rank apex level talent constitution, Samsara sacred body skills, Samsara Emperor scripture, Emperor Venerable level, Taiqing Xinjianju, Emperor Venerable level, Taiyang Quanjing, Emperor Venerable level, Void Turtle Breathing Ju, no grade, law weapon. Golden Holy Sword, Saint Venerable level, luck. Gold. In just half a year, he broke through 2 layers of heaven. Such a talent is simply a monster. Chu Tian nodded with satisfaction. It seems that it won't take long. He can let go and hand over the position of Palace Master to Shihao. and he found that Shi Hao was also very sensible. After practicing the void turtle breathing Ju, he suppressed his realm to the first layer of Juden realm, create the illusion that he has not broken through in half a year. In fact, he has reached the third layer of the Juden realm. What a good seedling. At this time, Shi Hao closed his fist and turned around, and the whole person was stunned for a moment. Master? Then, he happily ran to Chu Tian and said, Master, when did you come back? I just arrived at the sect an hour ago. Chu Tian smiled and nodded, saying, just now, I saw the results of your practice in the past 6 months. You have done a good job. Thank you, Master. Shi Hao was very happy to get the praise from Chu Tian. He was not good at speaking, but he admired Chu Tian very much in his heart. When he came to Zizai Palace and came into contact with this fairyland-like world, he knew that his master was not simple. Deep respect surged in his heart. Chu Tian glanced at the cave mansion where the Lord of Samsara Palace lived and said, How come I can sense the breath of Uncle Luo? Shi Hao's face suddenly became strange. He glanced at the cave mansion of the Lord of Samsara Palace and said in a low voice, Uncle Luo has been staying here for 2 months. I dare not ask him to leave, but judging from Uncle Luo's intention, I am afraid he will stay here for the rest of his life and will not leave. Is there such a thing? Chu Tian raised his eyebrows when he heard this. Is this for free? He looked around and immediately found that several of the precious herbs he usually raised were missing, and they were all Saint Venerable level medicines. These are for viewing and leisure time, not for cultivation. After all, I ate too much of this level of things when I was at a low level before, and I was tired of it. But while I was away, it was eaten by someone. What will I look at in the future? Master, who is this? Shi Hao looked at Xianqing behind Chu Tian and asked curiously. Xianqing was also looking at Shi Hao, and he immediately recognized that the other party was a sacred body of the reincarnation. He secretly glanced at Chu Tian. Who was this cheap master? He was just the master of a palace in the holy demon mountain? Is it really that simple? I don't think so. But Xianqing didn't think much about it. He had already worshipped Chu Tian as his master. The other party had no ill intentions and could provide cultivation resources that others could not give. Then he didn't need to have any other ideas. Shi Hao's doubts were caught by Chu Tian. He smiled slightly, stepped aside and introduced, his name is Xianqing. He is the second disciple accepted by the master, that is, your junior brother. Xianqing, this is your great master brother, Shi Hao. Shi Hao and Xianqing smiled at each other and nodded gently. Hello, junior brother Xianqing. Great master brother, you are polite? Chu Tian said calmly, okay, you guys chat. The master will go to Uncle Luo to discuss life. After speaking, Chu Tian walked towards the cave mansion of the Reincarnation Palace Master. Great Master, can the sacred body of reincarnation still be cultivated in this era? Xianqing remembered that in the era of the ancient profound emperor, the sacred body of reincarnation could be cultivated, but the difficulty was far greater than before. After the ascension of the ancient profound emperor, the heavenly Tao entered the period of the end of the law, and the law suppressed everything. The talent that was supposed to be the quasi-emperor level is now downgraded to the Saint Venerable level. The sacred body of reincarnation, which should be invincible in the world, can no longer be cultivated. The ancient history records of nearly 30,000 years show any sacred body of reincarnation that attempts to defying the heavens and changing fate will trigger the mysterious law and bring about a killing disaster. In 30,000 years, only 3 sacred bodies of reincarnation appeared. Without exception, when their masters forcibly connected the broken circuit, they triggered the mysterious law. All 3 died under the punishment of heaven, and Shi Hao, as the 4th person, was able to practice safely and even reach the Juden realm. Unbelievable. The only explanation Xianqing could think of was that Shi Hao met a noble person. Chapter 45, Part 1. An apex-level warrior reconnected the broken circuit for him, undertook the cause and effect of the mysterious law, and cut off the killing disaster. This allowed Shi Hao's sacred body to be reconnected. Xianqing's question made Shi Hao's mouth curl up, looking at Chu Tian's back and said, It was Master. He used his powerful magic power to help me open up the meridians as tough as divine iron, condensed the Juden, and reconnected the broken circuit of the reincarnation sacred body for tens of thousands of years. What Shi Hao didn't finish was, more importantly, the Reincarnation Emperor Sutra, taught by Chu Tian, was the key to the reconnection of the reincarnation sacred body. Master has such power? Xianqing also looked at Chu Tian's back, and for a moment he couldn't guess how deep his realm was. Xianqing only knew that it was definitely not the Tianyan realm. The Tianyan realm couldn't do these. The Dao Dao realm, it seems that it's not possible either. At least it has to be perfect or above. Moreover, with such strength, it can only be barely opened, and Shi Hao's future cultivation will definitely be difficult. If Chu Tian really had reached the Dao realm, he would definitely not be able to help Shi Hao anymore. Junior brother Xianqing, you just came from Zizai Palace and you are not familiar with it. Let me take you around. Our Zizai Palace is not inferior to Dao Sacred Land, Shihao said with a smile. I can see that. Xinqing nodded. Before he even stepped into Zizai Palace, he was shocked by several space-attributed formations outside the palace. The concentration of spirit qi almost surpassed Heavenly Jade Sacred Land. After entering Zizai Palace, his heart was even more turbulent. He even doubted whether this was really a palace in Shengma Mountain. Arriving in front of the cave mansion opened by the Lord of Samsara Palace, Chu Tian raised his hand and knocked. Dong dong dong. I've said it before. I have something important to do with your master. I will leave as soon as your master comes back. The voice of the Lord of Samsara Palace came from inside the cave. The door was still closed. Uncle Master, I'm back? Chu Tian said softly. The air was silent, and there was no response from the cave mansion. Chu Tian asked again, Uncle Master? The Lord of Samsara Palace still did not answer. This old naughty boy. Chu Tian's face darkened, and he appeared in the cave in a flash. He saw that the Lord of Samsara Palace had blocked his ears with 2 wooden plugs, but he must have been able to hear it. Especially after he felt Chu Tian coming in, his body trembled, and he turned his back to Chu Tian, pretending to be calm and sitting in cultivation. Chu Tian slowly walked in front of the Lord of Samsara Palace, staring at him without saying a word. After a long time, beads of sweat oozed from the Lord of Samsara Palace's forehead. Finally, he couldn't help it, slowly opened his eyes, and saw Chu Tian, with a look of surprise on his face. Chu Tian, nephew, when did you come back? Why didn't you wake up Uncle Master? Look, Uncle Master entered a state of selflessness as soon as he practiced, and had no perception of the outside world. I'm so sorry. The Lord of Samsara Palace stood up happily without changing his face and said, Wonderful, really wonderful. Is this the acting skill of the Palace Master? You are worthy of being a big shot in the Holy Demon Mountain. You must not only survive, but also act well. Chu Tian almost applauded and looked at the Palace Master of Samsara with a smile, his eyes sparkling. This old guy's holy medicine was not taken in vain. He has reached the perfect level of the Heavenly Evolution Realm. Name, Chu Tian, Palace Master of Samsara Age, 482 years old realm. Second layer of the Heavenly Evolution Realm, apparent, / perfect level of the Heavenly Evolution Realm, actual, identity. Palace Master of the Palace of Samsara in the Holy Demon Mountain, low-grade Talisman Master of Dao Cultivation Talent, Heavenly Grade Apex Level Talent Skills, Holy Demon Art, no grade, Void Turtle Breath Art, no grade, Divine Ability, Heavenly Eye Law Weapon, Creation Whisk, Asking Dao Level, Luck, Orange. In just half a year, he has been promoted twice. It seems that my holy medicine has not been eaten in vain. It's a pity that he ate it. I have to plant some more holy medicine for viewing in the future. Chu Tian shook his head helplessly. He would not show displeasure to the Lord of Samsara Palace because of a few worthless holy medicines. After all, those things are worthless. Mainly, I want to see what this guy is planning. He actually moved here when I was not here? And this old guy's luck level is orange. No wonder he became a black-bearded Taoist priest, and there are always a group of young female disciples around him. His luck and love is all used for romance. Chu Tian looked at the Lord of Samsara Palace with a smile and said, Uncle, I wonder what important matter you want to find me for? You have troubled me to wait in Zizai Palace for 2 months? The Lord of Samsara Palace laughed loudly, looking normal. Immediately, he said without any embarrassment, It's nothing serious. I just want to ask you, where is your father now? Chu Tian understood that this was definitely an excuse prepared in advance. Will he care about my father? When Chu Yuan was around, the Lord of Samsara suffered a lot. One of them was a chatterbox, and the other had a bad temper. Every time they had a meeting, they would fight if they disagreed. As a result, several other lords, including the Grand Lord, were involved. What's more interesting is that it was a melee, but it turned into 1v6 in the end. Chu Yuan was the strongest, and he didn't care about the severity of the slap. He made several people angry, so the Grand Lord of Saint Demon and others joined forces to deal with him. Although they didn't win in the end, if it weren't for the true spirit uncle who came from the ancestral land to mediate, those 6 people would probably have to stay in bed for half a month. Dad is busy preparing to impact the realm of Emperor Venerable. Now he is a terrifying big man at the Transcendent Level, Chu Tian said with a smile. He also flattered the excuse that the Lord of Samsara made up casually. The Lord of Samsara rolled his eyes, a little embarrassed. He approached Chu Tian and asked quietly, Junior brother Chu Tian, how does your uncle treat you? Chu Tian glanced at him and said bluntly, Not very good. From childhood to adulthood, you are the one who cheated me the most. My father beat you a lot, right? The Lord of the Samsara Palace looked bitter. Can we still have a pleasant chat? Chapter 46, Part 1. Uncle Master feels so miserable, since I haven't teased Uncle Master Tian and the others since then. When I see them in normal times, they look at me differently. Especially your Uncle Master Dumo. This stuffy B********************. Now he sees me pretending to shake his head and walk. His smug look is so annoying. Chu Tian raised his eyebrows and said, "Isn't this good? The Lord of the Wheel of Reincarnation?" He was going crazy, beating his chest and stamping his feet. "Can we still have a good chat?" Chu Tian smiled and shook his head, stopped teasing him, and asked, "What do you want to say?" "Help, Uncle Master." The Lord of the Wheel of Reincarnation showed a sincere look. Chu Tian was so scared that his back was horrified. He said, "The few holy medicines passed down from the ancestors of the Chu family were picked by Uncle Master. How can you help?" "I am only in the early stage of Tianyan realm, so I am really powerless." The Lord of the Samsara Palace said, "Uncle Master is not the kind of person who takes advantage of others. Just stay in Zizai Palace for a while. Of course, Uncle Master will not live there for free. I have a Dao level Apex level technique here. You can practice it." As he said, he took out an old book and handed it to Chu Tian with a proud face. Chu Tian. Time flies. After another month, Xinqing settled down completely in Zizai Palace. He was very satisfied with the environment here. He was even more satisfied with the Taiqing Xinjianju given to him by Chu Tian. This made his strength much stronger than in the past when he was at the same level. Although he was still not as good as in his previous life, he was very satisfied. When he found the ancient profound emperor's tomb and got the emperor's heart, he will definitely sublimate and become more powerful, completely making up for the regret of the remnant soul. "Brother Xinqing, Master asked us to go to his cave mansion." Shihao ran over and said, "Okay, let's go now." Xinqing nodded and went to the cave mansion where Chu Tian lived with Shihao. There were 2 large vats in the cave mansion, filled with milky white liquid. It looked like there was nothing special about these liquids. It just emitted a faint light, but there seemed to be a small world in the light. Xinqing saw the extraordinariness of the liquid, looked at Chu Tian beside the vat, and asked, "Master, what is this?" Chu Tian said, "Take off your clothes and soak in it, and you will know." As soon as the voice fell, Shihao's clothes disappeared in an instant, and he jumped into the vat with a plop. "So fast," Xinqing muttered, without hesitation, tore off his clothes, and jumped into another vat. Then, Chu Tian flicked his finger and opened the hidden formation of the cave mansion, covering up the breath here. Shihao and Xinqing had closed their eyes in the vat, immersed in consciousness, and fell into a deep state of cultivation. "I hope this fairy pond water won't disappoint me," Chu Tian whispered. The milky white liquid in this big vat was the reward for accepting a disciple before, and it came from the water of the fairy river. The system said that you will know after soaking it. He asked Shihao and Xinqing to try it first to see if there are any magical effects. After all, it is the water of the fairy river, so there should be unexpected gains. At this time, Shihao and Xinqing seemed to have arrived in the fairyland. In front of them, there were many buildings in the sky. The light of the great Tao was sprinkled, and there were also divine rainbows lingering. In front of the sky, there is a gate that is higher than the sky. In front of the gate, there is a river that runs across, and no one knows where the source is. The river is turbulent, and even a drop of it seems to contain the supreme law. It contains a small world. Once it leaves the river, the small world will fall into ruin and destruction. This is... Chu Tian stared at Xinqing with surprise. Xinqing's whole body was emitting golden light, and a mysterious aura emerged. A piece of sky appeared above his head. The jade buildings were connected, and the golden light poured down. He looked at Shihao. Although the reincarnation sacred body was activated, and the movement was not small, it was far less amazing than Xinqing. It should be that the ancient Xian immortal body was repaired, and the physical anomaly appeared. The anomaly of the ancient Xian immortal body is the ancient profound heaven above his head. Name, Xinqing. Age, 23 years old. Realm, Juden realm 8th layer heaven. Surface, Xuanfu realm 1st layer heaven. Actual, identity. Reincarnation of the residual soul of the ancient profound emperor, the second disciple of Zizai Palace cultivation talent. Saint rank apex level talent physique. Ancient Xian immortal body, perfect, Kung Fu. Ancient profound emperor sutra, incomplete. Divine ability. Ancient Xian Wuji Dao, incomplete. Law treasure. Ancient Xian immortal seal, imitation, luck, gold. It is indeed like this. This water of the immortal river can actually replenish the origin and make up for the defects. Just based on this point, it is definitely a treasure. Chu Tian was amazed. He also found that Shihao and Xinqing's foundation was getting more and more solid. The body is crystal clear, and the internal organs and even all the meridians and flesh have become different. The immortal qi contaminated by the immortal river. This is a blessing that even Emperor Venerable can hardly encounter. Somewhere in Daxu Tsangzhou, just as Xuanqing's ancient Xian immortal body's origin was replenished. At the same time as the sky appeared above his head, a major earthquake occurred here. The earth shook, the sky and the earth roared, and the vibration spread from 100 miles to 10,000 miles, and then to 1,000,000 miles, and finally affected the entire Daxu. The vast Daxu was shaking violently at this moment. The sky collapsed and the earth cracked. There were 9 color clouds and golden light shining. Above the sky, a huge sky appeared, covering the sky and the sun, and it seemed that there were immortals living on it. The sky has more than 1 layer, but 33 layers. In the depths of heavenly jade sacred land, the Tianqian Saint Lord in a golden robe walked in the air, climbing to a high place, staring closely at the distance, looking at the sky from afar. His expression was shocked. Even he had never seen such a vision. 33rd layer Tianyu, 30,000 years ago. The physical anomaly of the ancient profound emperor was not the 33rd layer Tianyu? Why did it appear in Daxu today and cause such a huge fluctuation? An old monster in heavenly jade sacred land woke up and appeared beside Tianqian Saint Lord, with a solemn and puzzled look. Tianqian Saint Lord said, "It must be related to the appearance of the ancient profound emperor's amazing things." The old monster ordered, "Hurry up and send people to the earthquake center to investigate the situation, and keep in touch with the sound transmission jade slip at any time, and there must be no mistakes." Yes. The strength of the old monster in front of him is close to the saint venerable level. He is the uncle of Tianqian Saint Lord, and has been in seclusion for hundreds of years without showing up. At the same time, the scene that happened in heavenly jade sacred land is also being played in all the sects in Daxu. Chapter 47, Part 1. There are 9 powerful transcendent level sects in Daxu, namely Heavenly Jade Sacred Land, Ancient Xingqian Sect, Yin Yang Sacred Sect, Jiankuan Grotto Heaven. There are also Dao Miao Sect, Shengma Mountain, the already destroyed Xinyu Sect, Shangxian Sect, and Xianren Mansion. These 9 sects are distributed on the 3 continents of Daxu, and their words are particularly important. Especially Xianren Mansion, its location in Sangzhou is very special, just at the angle of the 3 continents. Today, Xianren Mansion has a big happy event. 30,000 years ago today, Xianren Mansion was established. The founder of the sect built the sect on the edge of Sangzhou, near the other 2 continents, in a mountain. Birthdays must be celebrated. So early in the morning, Xianren Mansion became lively, and many banquets were set up, and everyone in the sect was happy. Everyone didn't care about the realm of cultivation. Let the wine relax their nerves, and enjoy the rare moment of relaxation. Usually, in order to maintain the reputation of the Transcendent Level sect, they practice very hard and dare not be lazy. But today, the headmaster allowed everyone to drink as much as they wanted. He would treat us. When they were in high spirits, the female disciples sang and danced, and the male disciples sang along. The atmosphere was very good, and everyone was very happy. Even the headmaster personally went on stage to show the powerful spells of the Tianyan realm masters. This made all the disciples yearn for the strength of the Tianyan realm. But just when everyone was having fun, the statue of the founder of the Xianren Mansion suddenly cracked. Crack! The crack went from the bottom of the feet to the top of the head, and the statue was split in 2. A drunken disciple was the first to discover it, rubbed his eyes and said, "Oh, ancestor, the statue is cracked?" As soon as he finished speaking, he was punched by someone. A tall male disciple clenched his fist unhappily and said, "Even if you are drunk, you can't be disrespectful to the ancestor. You are unfilial." Then he also looked at the statue, his mouth wide open. "Wow, it's really cracked." More and more people found something wrong and opened their mouths in surprise. The statue of the ancestor, which represents the dignity of the immortal mansion, actually cracked. What is this a sign? The head of the sect narrowed his eyes, counted with his fingers, and exclaimed, "A bad sign." Boom. Before the head of the sect finished speaking, there was a rumbling sound from under the ground. The sound came from deep underground, deep and powerful, like the sound of a bell. "Head, can you figure out what's going on?" A burly elder asked seriously. The statue of the ancestor cracked, and there was a buzzing sound from the ground. Obviously, something is going to happen. The head of the sect calculated several times, but to no avail, and finally he tried his best to calculate. The statue cracked, which may mean that what is about to happen will threaten the entire immortal mansion, and he has to be careful. Puff. The head of the sect tried his best to calculate, but he didn't calculate anything, but was counterattacked by a mysterious force. His heart meridian was injured. He spit out a mouthful of blood, and his breath was weak. What he calculated was beyond his realm and violated a taboo. If he hadn't stopped in time, he might have died on the spot. "Master!" An elder quickly supported the master and said worriedly, "Don't hold on." The master shook his head, with blood on the corner of his mouth, and he tried to look up at the sky. "I saw a 9-color glow descending from the sky. Hurry! Hurry up and invite the ancestors. Boom. As soon as the voice fell, the earth trembled violently, shaking violently, and the mountains shook. The entire mountain range where the immortal mansion is located is cracking, and the cracks are getting bigger and bigger, hundreds of miles wide. The golden light is dazzling, shining from the depths of the cracks. As the golden light appears, a faint and powerful pressure appears, which makes people feel terrified. It is a kind of power that seems to be able to suppress the heaven and earth, the ultimate of the great Tao. All disciples of the immortal mansion, leave the mountain gate, stay away from here. Quickly retreat. In the depths of the immortal mansion, 3 figures soared into the sky, and the amazing breath of the Tao realm was released without reservation. The old man in the middle with eyebrows growing to his waist shouted. In an instant, all the drunk people in the immortal mansion were awakened. Disciples above the Juden realm who can fly, take the disciples of the Yuamai realm to evacuate quickly. The head of the sect also soared into the sky, showing the law manifestation of heaven and earth, standing tall and upright. He ignored his internal injuries and used all the power of heaven and earth. Try to stabilize the vibration of the gate of the immortal mansion. Then, the 3 ancestors of the Tao realm and all the elders took action together to stabilize the terrain. By time for the disciples to evacuate. The immortal mansion was in chaos. The disciples of the Yuamai realm could not fly, so they could only ask disciples above the Juden realm for help. But the disciples of the Yuanmai realm were usually the most in the sect. It was difficult to evacuate all of them at once. The world in the sleeve. An ancestor of the Tao realm gave up stabilizing the terrain and rushed into the immortal mansion, using Taoism. He kept putting the Yuanmai realm disciples who did not escape into his sleeves. When he was sure that everyone had evacuated, he shouted, "Leave the vibration center, retreat quickly." Suddenly, under the leadership of the old man with eyebrows as long as his waist, everyone ran away, turned into long rainbows, constantly moving away from the mountain. Boom. The huge fluctuations intensified again, and the earth shook violently, the former immortal mansion. The magnificent building collapsed in the cracks. The mountain range cracked, and the sky was full of golden light. 9 color clouds fell from the sky. There were layers of heaven in the sky, and there were 33 layers, and there were jade buildings above the heaven. It seemed that there were immortals living there, and auspicious beasts were flying, which was shocking. The people who fled to the immortal mansion in the distance were shocked, staring at the sky, and were stunned. The old man with eyebrows growing to his waist had an ugly face, and his eyes were trembling as he looked at the shocked sky. The 33rd layer sky, the pressure is too great. It blocked the sun, the great Tao's clouds fell, and there was the great Tao's heavenly sound roaring above, which was breathtaking. The mountain where the immortal mansion was located collapsed completely with the vibration, revealing a huge building inside. This is tomb. The people in the immortal mansion were dumbfounded. Isn't that huge building a tomb? There is actually a big tomb under their sect? So, they have been living on the tomb all these years? As the mausoleum appeared, a yellowish gas slowly floated out from the ground and filled the air. The head of the sect caught a wisp, looked at it carefully, and then exclaimed, "Mysterious yellow chi?" Chapter 48, Part 1. What? Everyone was shocked and quickly grabbed a strand of it to see that it was really mysterious yellow chi. It is said that mysterious yellow chi was produced when the world was first created. When the world was first created, there were 2 kinds of chi. There was primordial violet chi in the sky. There was mysterious yellow chi on the ground. The old man with eyebrows that grew to his waist stared at the mausoleum again and again. A guess that he himself could not believe gradually rose in his heart. Such a scale. Such a momentum. 33rd layer sky. Mysterious yellow chi. The divine power that is sometimes present and sometimes not in the air. This is the Emperor's mausoleum, he said with difficulty. This may be the mausoleum of the ancient profound Emperor. Hearing this guess, everyone opened their mouths wide and could not believe it. The immortal palace was actually built on the mausoleum of an Emperor Venerable? So incredible? I am afraid that Daxu is not going to be peaceful. Recently, those ancient races have emerged one after another. Now even the tomb of Emperor Venerable has appeared. I'm afraid there will be an unpredictable chaos. An old senior in the realm of asking for the truth frowned and said, once the tomb of Emperor Venerable appeared, it would definitely be the fuse for the strong men to fight to the death. If anyone can get any of the things left by Emperor Venerable, it would be a great opportunity. If there is the inheritance of the ancient profound emperor in the tomb, bloody storms are inevitable, and a shocking war is about to break out. The 3 ancestors had to move away from the immortal mansion. It won't be long before there may be a bloody battle here. The Daxa land was swept by huge fluctuations, and countless ordinary people died in this huge earthquake. More immortal cultivators were surprised by this sudden change. This Daxu earthquake lasted for 3 days. The 33rd layer heavenly world in the sky did not disappear, but stood tall, like a fairyland. Whenever someone looked up at the sky, they would be shocked. Walking under the shadow of heavenly world, even the top masters of the realm of Taoism would feel insignificant. It was as if a ray of light from heavenly world could shock them to death. An old ancestor of a sect walked out of the ancestral land, exclaiming, "Isn't this 33rd layer heavenly world the work of the ancient profound emperor? Only a master of this level can create such a terrifying vision, even if it is a quasi-emperor. Once it falls into the 33rd layer heavenly world, it will be suppressed in an instant until it falls." More and more old monsters walked out of the ancestral land, looking at the sky, and had their own guesses in their hearts. Ancient Profound Emperor. This name appeared in the hearts of all the old monsters, and they were full of awe. Looking up at the sky, I don't know what happened. It was not until 3 days later that the shaking stopped and Daxu returned to peace. Each sect sent out strong men to find out what happened. The movement shook the 33rd layer heavenly world in the sky. Could it be that the ancient Profound Emperor has revived? Soon the news spread throughout the land of Daxu. It's the Emperor's tomb. The tomb of the ancient Profound Emperor. The tomb of the ancient Profound Emperor has appeared. Oh my God. According to the accurate information I have received, the tomb of the ancient Profound Emperor has appeared in the underground of the Xianren Mansion sect. The Immortal Mansion was actually built on the Emperor's mausoleum, and now their entire sect has moved away. I heard that the ancient Profound Emperor mausoleum is thousands of miles in radius, and the divine power is pervasive. Even the strong men in the realm of asking for the way cannot get close. And the mysterious yellow chi in the air can't even be collected. Too many pieces of news are flying all over the sky, spreading all over the land of Daxu, and countless forces are boiling. Many big families are scrambling to rush to the Zhangzhou area. What's more terrifying is that there is a terrifying atmosphere everywhere in Daxu. A mysterious race is born and is rushing to the ancient Profound Emperor mausoleum. On this day, in an ordinary city, the ancestral temple of the Huangfu family is full of holy power. The amazing momentum broke through the sky and the earth, and several strong men accompanied by terrifying power soared into the air and left this ordinary city. Oh my God, is that the Huangfu family? The Huangfu family actually hid such a strong man? Have they been living in seclusion all the time just to wait for this day? The news that the Huangfu family is no longer hiding from the world spread throughout Daxu. At the same time, more hidden families and major sects appeared one after another. Even some sects that were said to have fallen in the long river of history suddenly reappeared and were no longer hidden. The pattern of Daxu was completely in chaos. The right to speak of the 9 transcendent level sects in Daxu was almost in name only, and their reputation was no longer there. Ancient races, ancient family, hidden sections. These terrifying forces appeared one after another, completely disrupting the existing order of Daxu. Zhangzhou, the ruins of the original Immortal Mansion. The huge imperial mausoleum only exposed the upper half, which was already majestic and vast. The momentum was magnificent, the mysterious yellow chi was diffused, and the divine power was overwhelming. Above the sky, the 33rd layer heavenly world suppressed the stars. Anyone could feel their own insignificance. The ancient Profound Emperor mausoleum was inaccessible within a radius of 10,000 miles. Not long ago, a cultivator in the Tianyan realm tried to force his way in, and was instantly crushed into ashes by the divine power. Then another strong man in the realm of Taoism tried to enter, but finally escaped with serious injuries. The ancient Profound Emperor mausoleum, you can't enter it for the time being. An old monster came to a conclusion. Since the mausoleum has been born, you will be able to enter it one day. The time may be short or long, ranging from a few months to a few years. The divine power around the mausoleum will sooner or later dissipate to the lowest point, and it should no longer pose a threat to the apex level strong. Several strong men gave guesses, which were recognized by most people. Many people therefore live around the mausoleum, waiting for the day when the divine power dissipates. Not long after, some people actually began to comprehend the Emperor Venerable Law in the divine power. Feel the ultimate human power to improve their own cultivation. There are more than one person who do this. Even, most of them are cultivators in the realm of Tianyan, or even the realm of Taoism. All sit cross-legged on the ground, feeling the Emperor Venerable Law with their hearts. Boom. Some people thus break through the barrier of the realm of Tianyan and successfully enter the realm of Taoism. Xingqian Ancient Sect. The Sun and Moon Temple is where the Sun and Moon Sect master handles important religious affairs and where he practices. Above the temple, there are 2 sacred stones emitting red and blue light. The red light is a stone shaped like the sun. The blue light is a crescent-shaped stone. Chapter 49, Part 1. The Sun and Moon Sect leader sat cross-legged in the air, with an aura that seemed to be there and not there, extremely terrifying. He was guiding the power of the sun and moon in the red and blue stones to practice. At this time, in the center of the sun and moon temple, a figure covered in a black robe appeared. The sun and moon sect leader instantly opened his eyes, looked at the other party, fell from the air, and asked, "What's the situation?" Reply to the sect leader. The black-robed figure knelt on one knee and said, "It has been found out that the tomb of the ancient profound emperor has indeed been born. Now countless strong men have poured into Tsangzhou and went to the emperor's mausoleum to find out the truth. But the emperor's mausoleum is thousands of miles in radius, and the divine power is pervasive. Even a strong man in the realm of asking for the truth will be seriously injured if he enters rashly. If he forces himself to go deep, he will be directly shocked to death." Hearing this, the Star Ancient Sect narrowed his eyes. This divine power cannot exist forever, and there will definitely be a day when it disappears. At that time, it will be a chance for everyone, and a bloody disaster is inevitable. The Emperor's Mausoleum, anything related to Emperor Venerable, is not ordinary. What's more, it is the mausoleum where the remains of Emperor Venerable are buried. Go ahead and report any news at any time. The Star Ancient Sect waved his hand, and the black-robed figure suddenly disappeared on the spot. Ancient Profound, Emperor Mausoleum. Why did it suddenly appear in the world? This may not be accidental, but... The Sun and Moon Sect Master pondered. In recent years, ancient races have frequently appeared, and hidden families and sects have continuously jumped out. Now the Ancient Profound Emperor Mausoleum has also suddenly appeared. All this indicates a new glorious era is coming. Daxu, the sky is about to change. In this case, this time, the Star Ancient Sect will definitely be the biggest winner of the Ancient Profound Emperor Mausoleum event. In the next few thousand years, even if the world turns upside down, my Star Ancient Sect will remain unchanged. As soon as the voice fell, the figure of the Sun and Moon Sect Master disappeared. He came to the core area of the Star Ancient Sect, which is the ancestral land. All the strong men in the history of the Star Ancient Sect rest here, which is the foundation of the entire sect. Before he could speak, an old man in a blue robe with a crescent moon on his forehead suddenly appeared at the entrance of the ancestral land. The old man looked haggard, extremely old, and skinny, almost skinny. The old man was very old. He looked at the Sun-Moon Sect leader and said, "I already know what happened, so I'll handle this matter." The Sun-Moon Sect leader nodded and asked, "Do I need to bring the Sun, Moon, and Star Seal?" The Sun, Moon, and Star Seal is the most precious treasure of the ancient Star Sect. It was the law weapon of the Sun and Moon Saint Emperor. The Sun and Moon Saint Emperor is naturally the founder of the ancient Star Sect. The old man answered without hesitation, "No, there is no sacred venerable in the world today, and few people can be my opponent." As soon as he finished speaking, he waved his sleeves, and a golden ancient chariot appeared. He jumped into the ancient chariot, then drove the chariot into the void and galloped away. Alas! The Sun-Moon Sect leader looked into the distance. Wouldn't it be safer to take the treasure with him? Who knows if the Heavenly Jade Sacred Land will take the treasure with them? Those guys are usually righteous, but they are full of bad intentions, many times worse than the Star Ancient Sect. System, sign in. Sure Hao and Xin Qing were immersed in deep cultivation. Chu Tian, who had nothing to do, walked to the table and sat down. He picked up the teacup, brewed a pot of tea, took a sip, and whispered, "Ding, sign in successfully, cumulative sign in time. 199 years and 7 months sign in reward. A space-time god realm, space-time god realm?" Chu Tian raised his eyebrows. "What the hell is this? Do I need to teach you?" Ding. The space-time god realm is a special secret realm. The time inside it passes 30 times faster than the outside world. In other words, one day in the outside world is 1 month in the space-time god realm. Oh my god. Chu Tian stood up suddenly, looking shocked. The space-time god realm is such a terrible treasure. 30 to 1. It takes 30 days to practice inside, and only 1 day in the outside world. If such a treasure is known to the outside world, it will definitely cause a bloody battle. Time is the most difficult law to control. Even Emperor Venerable can only walk in the long river of time for a short time, and it is difficult to change anything in the long river. And the time law treasure is almost non-existent in the entire Yanhuang realm. At most, it can only make the time difference a few hours. Such a time treasure is already extremely precious. And this space-time god realm has reached an astonishing 30 times. When I'm bored, I'll have a place to go. I can live a miserable life and practice at the same time. Immortality, isn't it waving to me? Chu Tian was pleasantly surprised. Ding, reminding the host that due to the huge difference in the speed of time flow, in the space-time god realm, lifespan will also be consumed faster accordingly. People with a short lifespan will die 30 times faster when they enter it. In addition, staying in space-time for a long time may cause you to lose yourself. Unable to distinguish between reality and illusion, the powerful law of time may even erase some memories. Hearing the system's explanation, Chu Tian's mouth suddenly rose. He thought of a good way to deal with those old monsters in the future. These old guys are usually very long-lived. Whoever provokes me, I will lock them up in the space-time god realm and let them die under the erosion of time. In this way, I don't have to do it myself. At this time, an ancient token appeared in Chu Tian's hand. The token was black and gray with blue textures, and the word space-time was engraved on the back. The space-time god realm is hidden in this token. The host can enter it with a thought. I want to ask, does this time and space divine world have any attack power? No. Then what can I control? The host can control the time laws in the time and space divine world, and concentrate all the time laws on one person. Instantly, the time flow rate of that person can be changed to 1:10,000. How many years is 10,000 days? While Chu Tian was thinking, suddenly, the entire Zizai Palace shook violently. Formation start? Chu Tian frowned, but remained calm in the face of danger. With a flick of his finger, he activated all the formations of Zizai Palace and stabilized the mountain. Instantly, the vibration weakened, leaving only a slight tremor. What happened? Chu Tian walked out of the cave mansion, and the Lord of the Wheel of Reincarnation also walked out, looking surprised. The Lord of the Wheel of Reincarnation put his fingers together and tapped his forehead, and saw that a vertical eye opened above his forehead, and a golden light flashed, which was fascinating. This is the divine ability of the Lord of the Wheel of Reincarnation. Heavenly Eye. Chapter 50, Part 1. He opened his sky eye and scanned the tens of thousands of miles around the holy demon mountain. He found that the entire land was shaking violently under the influence of a mysterious force. He looked into the distance again and was shocked to find that it seemed that the entire great ruins was shaking. The Lord of the Samsara Palace retracted his sky eye and looked at Chu Tian. Both of them realized that something big was about to happen. Then, the true spirit Taoist of the holy demon mountain walked out of the ancestral land to check the situation, and the Dust Gang Taoist followed. The two calculated for a long time, but could not deduce the reason. But the more they calculated, the more frightened they were, and finally gave up. After that, the true spirit Taoist did not send the disciples of the holy demon mountain to explore. Instead, they mobilized the blood corpse demon race that could control life and death. Let them walk out of the blood corpse demon secret realm and go out to scout the situation. In extraordinary times, extraordinary means must be used, and safety is the most important thing. The holy demon mountain has been passed down for many years, relying on this cautiousness. Everything is based on hiding. Sensing danger, naturally, he couldn't rush to the front. When the news of the appearance of the ancient profound emperor's tomb came from the blood corpse ancestor, True Spirit and Qin Gang, two nearly 1,000-year-old old men, they also showed shock and lost their usual calmness. After Chu Tian learned the news, he immediately returned to Cave Mansion and used Taoism to reinforce the hidden formation here. He looked at Xinqing and was very sure that the appearance of the ancient profound emperor's tomb. It was definitely because Xinqing repaired the origin of the ancient Xian's immortal body. Perhaps, this is exactly the backhand left by the ancient profound emperor. Whether it is the skills, divine ability, or physique, Gu Xian is incomplete. The ancient profound emperor should have anticipated this and deliberately left a backhand. And this backhand is likely to be the ancient profound emperor's tomb. Among them, there may be what Xinqing needs to make up for his shortcomings. If this is true, it is possible that Xinqing's Saint rank apex level talent can break through to emperor grade. Now Xinqing is still soaking in the water of the fairy pool, in a state of cultivation, and everything needs to wait until he wakes up before making plans. 3 months later, the sacred power of the emperor's tomb is still pervasive, with no signs of weakening. But more and more practitioners flocked to Tsangzhou, just to witness the magnificence of the emperor's tomb with their own eyes. The huge changes in Daxu naturally attracted the attention of Zhongzhou, Beiyu, and Southern Domain, which are adjacent to Daxu. There are powerful forces in these three places who came secretly and did not appear in the public view of Daxu. After all, Daxu is the territory of Heavenly Jade Sacred Land and Xingqian Ancient Sect. The ancient profound emperor's tomb appeared again in Daxu. Today, its sacred power still exists, and they are not suitable to show up in public. Otherwise, it will definitely cause hostility from the two great sacred lands in Daxu. However, when the sacred power of the emperor's tomb dissipates, whether it will appear at that time is another matter. It is worth mentioning that although the sacred power has not dissipated, the elusive mysterious yellow qi in the air is also sensed by more and more practitioners. They meditated around the emperor's tomb. Some people even absorbed the mysterious yellow qi into their bodies while comprehending the laws of the emperor Venerable Tao. Although most of it will overflow, they can gradually comprehend the secrets of the mysterious yellow qi. Some people have broken through the infant transformation realm, and some have even broken through the heavenly evolution realm. As for the small level breakthroughs in each realm, the number of people is countless. There are already dozens of practitioners who have reached the level of the Asking Dao realm. The strongest one among them is a mysterious old man, who is said to have stepped into the sacred venerable realm half a step. A month ago, through the perception of the sacred power, his cultivation seemed to have improved again, and he was about to step into the sacred venerable level. After the news came out, more ancient strong men came one after another. Most of them were old men who were about to be buried. Although they were strong men in the Asking Dao realm, their lifespans were running out. If they could not break through, they would soon become immortals. They wanted to try their luck. As expected, several old and immortal strong men broke through the realm. The lifespan was extended a little, and the worry of life and death was temporarily eliminated. I heard that Yaoqi's Sacred Land and Tianshu's Sacred Land in Zhengzhou have arrived and are hiding in the dark. Wangku Mountain in the southern domain seems to have arrived as well. Someone smelled the poisonous gas that makes people's scalps numb. The one coming from the northern domain may be the most mysterious Kunlun Palace. It is said that their ancestors came from other star domains. The strong men talked in a low voice. After 3 months of changes around the Emperor's mausoleum, the undercurrent has been surging. Although the sacred power has not disappeared, some apex-level forces have already made preparations. Just as everyone in Daxu was immersed in the shocking news of the appearance of the ancient profound Emperor's mausoleum, another equally shocking news came from the 2 apex-level sacred lands in Daxu. Immortal ranking. The battle for the immortal position will begin again. The names of the 9 Transcendent Level sects in Daxu will be reclaimed. The 9 Transcendent Level sects in Daxu will be re-elected. This time, Heavenly Jade Sacred Land and the Ancient Star Sect widely invited those newly born ancient clans and hidden sects to participate. In the battle for the immortal ranking, the title of the 9 Transcendent Level sects in Daxu is the right to speak in Daxu. Since those ancient clans and hidden sects have decided to come out, they will never miss such a big event. Moreover, they will do their best to seize the position of one of the 9 Transcendent Level sects. Of course, the title of the current 9 Transcendent Level sects cannot be revoked by 2 great Saint Das. Heavenly Jade Sacred Land and the Ancient Star Sect sent big figures to the major immortal sects to explain the situation. Today, Daxu is not peaceful. Ancient races, ancient clans, and hidden sects have come out one after another. Their strength and foundation are extremely strong. Some even have the capital to become Sacred Land, perhaps just missing a divine weapon. Therefore, the Sacred Land big figure who was responsible for persuasion raised a very realistic question to the top leaders of the current 9 Transcendent Level sections. Their foundation and sect strength are not enough to consolidate their position. At least, some of them are no longer suitable to be included in the list of the 9 Transcendent Level sections. If they forcefully occupy this position, in the future, they will definitely be regarded as a thorn in the eyes of some ancient clans and hidden sects, and will not be easily let go. If the strength does not match the status, it is best not to stand in the open. Otherwise, the first to suffer will be yourself. The current 9 Transcendent Level sects are naturally unwilling. This was thousands of years ago. When the last immortal list was opened, the ancestors had fought hard to get it. Now it is really hard to swallow this breath of anger to give it up like this.
Thank you for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card or directly on my channel. As always, if you have any feedback, feel free to share it in the comments. I'd also appreciate your thoughts on the ad experience in this video. Let me know in the comments below.